all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. At least 33 bodies have been exhumed from a mass grave at a cemetery in Kericho County. The exhumation was carried out on Tuesday by a multi-agency team. Authorities had earlier said only 14 bodies were buried at the site, but the number has risen to 33. Officials say 25 of the bodies recovered are children. Kenya and China have signed 4 memorandum of understanding meant to deepen bilateral talks between the two countries. The agreements include an early harvest arrangement on economic partnership, as well as cooperation in agriculture, livestock and trade. The signing follows talks held between President William Ruto and China's Vice President Hang Zhenchen at State House, Nairobi. The Kenya Wildlife Service has warned of a growing public health risk of a fish declared unsafe for human consumption. Director General Erastus Kanga says large quantities of fish are being taken from Lake Nakuru and sold in markets, especially in Nairobi. Speaking before the Senate of Kenya on Tuesday, Kanga urged Kenyans to be careful about where they buy fish, warning that some of it is contaminated and could pose serious health risks. Namibia has rejected a bid by Starlink, owned by Elon Musk, to offer satellite internet services in the country. The Communications Regulatory Authority of Namibia announced the decision but did not give reasons. However, it said Starlink's local subsidiary did not meet the country's local ownership requirements. The firm already operates in about 25 African countries but has faced similar regulatory hurdles in nations like South Africa. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga.
In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast, curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights, Radio Generation.
Very good morning to you. How are you doing? This is Radio Generation, the People's Breakfast on 88.8 FM in Nairobi, 90.7 in Mombasa, 89.5 in Garissa. City Muga is in studio with me, Mung'ala Movie. City, habari ya asubuhi?
Mzuri sana bana.
Wambaje.
Nani huyo?
Okay, uliniambia kofia unavaa inaitwa nini? Bini, binji, jinibi, jinibinini.
Endelea tu kuuliza.
Inaitwaje City?
Nitakupa jibu kesho.
Jibu kesho? Mbona kesho lakini mwenzangu?
Jukumu ni langu baba.
Lakini si lazima unipe kesho.
Na uamuzi ni wangu pia.
Aha. Lakini umesema uko vyema. Uliamka vizuri, naona leo wewe umekutreat hivi poa.
Bro, leo baridi mezidi.
Baridi mezidi vipi? Naona uko tu sawa. Kila siku unakwanga umedresi kwa njia hii. Na leo naona pia hiyo dress tu ni ile ile, yani haujabadilika. Kama kuna baridi ningeona skefu, ningeona kidogo umelivaa zile zinaitwa nini, leg warmers, ningeona kidogo umefunga mpaka masikio, umevaa zile zinaitwa Wakikuyu nazitanga boshori. So is it cold though?
It is. It is. My body has this capacity of being very sensitive to cold.
Right. Yeah, I remember you told me, is it because of arthritis?
Yes, I'm arthritic. Yes.
Ndio maana sasa.
So you control it, you make sure it doesn't spread and it doesn't dig in, because then movement becomes painful and difficult.
Yeah.
So what you do, the moment you feel it, you take precautionary measures. Like I normally wear thermal knee support.
All right.
Okay, the thermal knee support keeps the knee warm. And I wear thermal socks. So then now ile ankle unajua.
Ankle.
Yes.
Najua ankle.
Najua ankle. Inakuwa warm. Then I wear these and then
gloves.
Yes, so the joints are actually covered.
All right.
And ini dawa hii.
Does it actually help?
Oh, yes.
I mean, I know you wouldn't be wearing it if it doesn't, but does it really help?
Amazing. Amazing.
Okay.
All these things that look like crisscrossing across here. And these things are laced with something like called copper. Copper wire.
Yes.
Is supposed to have some medicinal qualities with regards to arthritis.
Copper wire. This copper that we mine from ginger. No, ginger smelts it.
No. It's actually Zambia where you find a lot of copper.
Yeah, and then it is smelted at ginger.
Yes.
Okay.
My point being, when you know you have a condition, you prepare for it.
Okay.
So the moment, because if you do not,
right,
and you let that very adversarial cold get into the system, even coming to work becomes a problem.
Okay. All right, sasa City. Jana ilikuwa birthday yako, ukataa kutuambia kwa nini? Mbona unakuanga selfish na hizi siku za maana kwa maisha yako? Yesterday was City's birthday, and we found out in the most bizarre ways. He was just randomly talking, and then he threw in, by the way, guys, I was born today very many years ago. And I was like, what? City, you don't do that?
You see, that is precisely what I do. And it is precisely because of the sort of comments you're making that I do not tell people my birthday.
Yes, ungetuambia ni birthday yako City. See, Edna angetuambia. Shida ni hutaki tukununulie keki.
No. It is not that. I do not celebrate today.
All right.
In fact, yesterday was deliberate, so I did not make a mistake in letting you know. If you make the mistake of saying I'll come and strangle you, yes.
But why City? As in, make me understand. Why don't you celebrate your birthday?
I see no purpose in it.
But there are people who care about you, the people who love you.
Yes, they call me and wish me, and I thank them, and I leave it at that.
So for us who care and love you here in the office, how do we know when to tell you happy birthday and when to express our love and affection? City?
You even went and sang, so I am grateful. So change the topic.
Yeah, because I... History about this.
What? Say what you want to say, Paul.
History about
because you're going to call me a dictator, which in this instance I won't call is actually true. I am dictating because it is my birthday. But say what you want to say.
What I wanted to say is one of these actually maybe even today we will sit down unieleze ni kwa nini. Ni nini juu ya birthday yako upendangi, because you're the first person City who I have met who doesn't like celebrating their birthday, or at least people mentioning it to other people. Mimi hapa nilikuja venye niliandikwa kazi huku nilimake sure kila mtu amejua birthday yangu.
What happened is my classmates reminded me of my birthday yesterday. Yeah, they remembered.
Oh, you had forgotten it?
No, I never bother.
Oh, okay.
Let me explain.
Yes.
When my children were young, and our children were young,
yes,
the birthday was a good thing for them. In fact, my daughter reminded me yesterday,
yes,
that she really used to enjoy my birthdays.
Yeah.
And I asked why. I said there was something like 3 different types of cakes. When somebody sent you a birthday cake,
yes,
said there were many presents, which I ended up giving away.
Yes.
So she really looked forward to my birthdays.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
I have understood when you are a grown African man, your birthday is the day you give people gifts.
Yeah. So, not really. Okay, if you're an African man.
See, I've just told you. I've just qualified it. So what I'm going to do tomorrow, it's Friday.
Yes, tomorrow is Friday. Yeah, no.
It's Thursday.
Tomorrow is Thursday, yes.
I will bring everybody in this establishment a
gift.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So City.
I will give you
a gift.
All of you will receive a gift.
But big shout out to yesterday we had a very nice birthday party also for Radio Generation.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we and that's where you actually told us that it is your birthday also, and I was like, why on earth would you not let us do in advance? But anyway, you umeshasema kitu umeshasema. But yeah, we had a very nice.
I was sitting next to Patricia Wayua. And you wanted to ask her, Patricia.
Yes.
This name is an interesting one. Is it possible that it started off as a nickname, where somebody instead of saying unajua alikuwa anasema Wayua, and then it became a nickname, then it stuck. But sikumuuliza. But she was telling me, City, it's good to have birthdays. I said, really?
Yes.
Yes. Some of us like eating cake.
Exactly.
Okay.
And yesterday we had cake as much as it wasn't your birthday cake. We ate cake. Mwenye ali organize hiyo keki, hiyo flavor rather. I don't. Did you have a taste?
I did. It was a very, very lovely cake.
It was a very. That flavor.
Was uniquely delightful.
Niliambia it was Biscoff.
Biscoff. Huyo Biscoff ni mzuri. Yes.
Your cake.
It did wonders to the taste buds.
What? You know, I rarely have cake, but yesterday I munched on that cake. I remember even when I got home, I was calling guys, "Your cake about Duiko," because the thing was absolutely delicious.
It was lovely, wasn't it?
I loved it, kabisa. Do you know who you share a birth date with?
No.
A gentleman called Harry Houdini. He's a famous Hungarian-American illusionist and escape artist. I'm sure you've heard of Houdini before.
I also know exactly what you've just told me.
What?
I'm an escape artist.
Yes, you like escaping reality at times. But yes, so happy birthday city. As much as nilikuimbia, lakini ungetuambia vizuri tungetengeneza kwaya vizuri na tukimbie tukudansie na tufanye mambo katikati hapo tukidance. Na maybe tungekugift.
I am grateful that you all sang really badly, but I'm really glad that you all
What?
sang.
City, I sang badly?
I said you all sang really badly.
Yeah, I was among the people who sang.
Yes.
I was the soloist.
I was very happy with the bad singing. Thank you.
So City. Today is 25th March, yeah? Let me tell you what is significant about this day. In 1807, the Slave Trade Act is passed by the British Parliament, abolishing the slave trade within the British Empire. In 1807. But if it was passed in this is the Slave Trade Act, yeah, abolishing the slave trade within the British Empire. See, after that, we still had slaves in the British Empire.
I think we did. We still do.
Slavery we still do?
Slavery hasn't ended on this planet. So
yeah.
When you hear of trafficking, that's modern day slavery.
Okay.
We just call it something different.
But at least it isn't sanctioned by the crown.
Crown, no, it isn't. It isn't.
Yeah.
You see, its terminologies change. The actual deed or the actuality of the particular terminology, that one tends to persist.
Yeah.
There are people who like to subjugate others.
Right.
So they will find ways of subjugating others. Physical
one way or another.
Yes, physical enslavement that was also characterized by chains and others, shackles and so forth, may have, should we say, diminished significantly to the point of simply disappearing. However, that people look for ways of shackling others or ensuring that others do not have their free will expressed, well, that still persists. Yes. When other nations seek to dominate other nations, what do you think they're doing? They're putting in shackles.
Yeah.
When you have draconian laws that ensure that people don't enjoy freedom, what do you think you're doing? You are putting people in shackles.
Yeah.
Yes. So human nature being what it is,
yes,
there are things people never really quite do away with it. What we do is the face of it changes, but the reality of the actuality never really diminishes. Not really.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Tupatie methali leo, bado tuko Angola, sivyo?
Sisi iko Angola.
Haya, twende Angola, kule Luanda.
You cannot do with water, even if it drowned your child.
Yeah? You cannot?
You cannot do with water, even if it drowned your child.
You cannot do with or you cannot do without?
You cannot do without water.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Even if it drowned your child.
Yes.
You know, you're actually right. You're actually right. There's a lot of things we cannot do without in this day and age. Water being one of them. We cannot do without fire. We cannot do without air. We cannot do without food, even if it choked you to death. Even if it choked someone else to death. There's actually I think it was 2 years ago, I almost choked on a piece of steak.
Steak is wrong.
Bro, nilimeza something bigger than I could chew.
I see.
So I tried chewing this piece of meat. Okay? And then I realized it's chewy, like it's not breaking down.
It was a bit firm.
Yes. So I said, sinimeze tu this thing. Tumbo itai digest even if it takes 3 years to digest.
Again, and pole.
I was in the presence of my mother and my girlfriend. So I swallowed this piece of meat.
And you started choking, didn't you?
Bro, I started choking. But I didn't alert them immediately. I thought I could swallow this meat.
And then it jammed.
Then I realized by then, okay, kwase ni kwenda naenda. I have never seen what I saw in the face of the two people who loved me most at the time. Mimi by the bro nilikuwa naenda. Hata nilianza kuona kumeanza kukua white. It was a very traumatic experience for my mother, more than it was even for me.
Okay, just so that I know.
Yes.
You didn't see any angels?
No, I did not.
Asking, these near-death experiences.
Yeah.
You must exploit them and find out. But you saw the white light.
I saw white light. Like, I saw, like, vitu zilianza ku... You see the way it is in the studio right now?
Uliona vitu ambazo zinametameta.
Actually, yes, I did. Uliona venye saizi kunaka bright light.
Yes. Uliona hiyo?
That is how it started being. And then now, it started becoming blurry.
Oh bro, hiyo ulikuwa unaenda kweli.
Bere nikajua ninaenda. So thank God walinipatia first aid na whatever was struck in me, the meat katoka.
But
nowadays, you should see me. I eat very small pieces of meat. I do not... Mimi ati ni chuki hivi katae kutafunika hiyo, first of all naitoa na ikata mara kama 7 before I swallow it. And when I'm having a steak, I usually now have it with a fork and knife. Hii maneno ya kushika hivi kama Mwafrika, kama openje. Venye uliona venye openje jana alikuwa anashika nyama. Sishikangi kama openje.
See, but the openje was having fun and I'm happy.
Yes, he was.
Hebu nikwambie kitu.
Yes.
Unajua?
Yeah.
Mishipa si steak.
Yeah.
Wewe ulikuwa unakula mshipa. Ingawaje kwa karibu na nyama.
Yeah.
Zile nyama ambayo hazina hizo shida tend to be a bit pricey.
Yeah.
But zipo.
Next time hizo ndizo nitanunua.
Niambia birthday yako.
Yeah.
Fillet steak.
Right.
Takunia kama kilo 5.
May 23rd.
Inakuja.
Write it down somewhere.
Hakuna shida.
Sawa.
You knowing you.
Yeah.
Utanikumbusha.
Sawa city. But I like hiyo ya watu wa kutoka kule Luanda. Wamesema you cannot do without water even if it drowned your child.
Yes.
It's true. God forbid. Haya, sawa basi. Tuingie katika mtandao wetu wa radiogeneration.co.ke. But before we do that, ndio nisiwaambie majina zimekuwa mingi na siwezi wasalimia, acha nisalimia. John Mutua, good morning my lovely TV show Qatar, niko tuned. Here it's raining, brother city, apewe something hot. Actually, he's actually taking some black
something
coffee. Paseptroni amesema look at God, good day. Sungura wetu amesema my birthday is every morning. Aya, Sungura, happy birthday. David Wanganga. Hii ni David Wanganga. Amesema greetings from David and Helen from Lowell in Massachusetts.
Asante sana. Greetings to you also.
Yes.
Na kwa wale wengine ambao wamesema jambo.
Yes, I was in Massachusetts a couple of years ago. So yeah. And I also traveled all the way to Lowell. Nilikuja, mimi tulikuwa naitanga Lowell. Ni kampeni inaitwa Lowell. Hii story ya kusema Lowell kama Mkamba tunamacha.
You said the way you know, then you're corrected.
Yeah.
Then you know.
Yeah, I was there. I was like, oh, tumefika Lowell. I was told, no, it's Lowell. So, Lowell, Massachusetts. Wishing Mr. Jabali a good day ahead of exams. Who's Jabali? Is it there, sir? Yeah, Mr. Jabali, success in your examinations. Alanda mesema, good morning, good people. Happy belated birthday to the cool ruler, Siti Muga. He rules his space in the coolest way possible. Happy birthday, bro.
Asante sana.
Haya, sawa. Mtandao ndio huu sasa, tunaangalia wanasema nini. Mozambique president in Kenya for a 3-day visit to boost trade and investment. Mozambique. This is the first time I'm reading anything about Mozambique ever.
Have we not talked about
Yes, we did have proverbs from Mozambique.
So
yes.
It isn't the first time.
Yeah.
It is our proverbs that brought him.
Right. So His Excellency Daniel Francisco Chapo is currently in the 254.
Ako Kenya.
So the president of Mozambique, Daniel Francisco Chapo, has arrived in Kenya for a 3-day official visit aimed at expanding economic cooperation, strengthening diplomatic relations, and promoting investment opportunities. The visit, prompted by an invitation from President William Ruto, marks a continuation of the two nations' long-standing partnership. Upon landing at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi on Tuesday, President Chapo was received by Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who highlighted the importance of the visit in advancing shared interests. City, do you know of a Mozambican...
No.
I actually don't know of any. I know of a Zimbabwean. I know of a South African. I have met a Malawian. I think I've met lots of people from this continent, but a Mozambican? Sijapatana na mmoja.
I haven't.
If you're a Mozambican and you're listening, please Can you WhatsApp us and let us know where you're listening from? Are you in Kibra or are you in State House? All right, so that's it. We have Mozambique President Chapo is in the area. 25 children among 33 bodies exhumed in Kericho. They have rescued about 33 human bodies from a cemetery, uncovering a much larger number than initially reported. We're going to be talking about this in the last hour actually of the show. So stay tuned, because we want to try and unpack what exactly is happening in Kericho. Tuliambua, was it on Monday? Tuliambua some 14 bodies were buried somewhere. Then reports said they were 13. Then someone said they were 12. So we're wondering, are they 12? Are they 14? Now we are hearing of 33 bodies having been exhumed. What on earth is going on? Are we experiencing, or rather are we witnessing another Shakahola? Good question. DP Kindiki announces relief for maize farmers as seed prices are reduced. Let's check this out. Maize farmers across Kenya have received a major boost after the government announced a reduction in the prices of seeds following concerns raised by leaders and farmers from key crop growing regions. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki said President William Ruto had acted swiftly on the farmers' requests, ordering an immediate reduction of maize seed prices to encourage higher production nationwide. A couple of days ago, I saw CS Kagwe akiwa kule Trans Nzoia, and I think it was something to do with seeds and fertilizers as well. Nakasema they were sorting farmers in that particular area. I have a question, CT, though, and this is on the Deputy President's fashion. I think they are wearing the same designer with the President, because Deputy Kindiki and President Ruto, I think one of the same shirts, because for the last couple of days I've been watching the President, and if I look at the shirt that Prof is wearing here in this particular picture, inafanana in design, that is, and material kamili Mheshimiwa Rais.
Ayo sawa.
I think kuna mse alikuja akamwambia wase, I can dress you guys. I have the perfect material, and guess what? The perfect design.
Inakuanga hivyo.
Inakuanga.
Why is it that these garments that is the president wearing are called counter suits? It's because Kenneth Kaunda.
Yes.
Alikuwa president.
Anazivaa.
Alikuwa akizivaa. So they call counter suit.
Nam.
The conventional suits that are of the Western variety was not worn by him.
Yeah. And they've actually become a signature of the president.
They have.
Even when he was DP, he used to wear them.
Those who used to call them a Chinese suit. The Chinese also have something similar garments where it looks like a suit, but it's not really the traditional British, English, European suit.
Attire.
Like in a suit.
Right. That's a good thing. When the prices zitaenda kuwa reduced, seed prices, it's a good thing for farmers. So if you're a farmer, tafadhali tuambie, have they reduced? Ama have you been told of this reduction? Senate orders immediate halt to fishing at Lake Nakuru amid alleged abuses. Okay. Imeandikwa na Bradley Bosire. Bosire amesema hivi: the Senate Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations has ordered an immediate stop to all fishing activities at Lake Nakuru following allegations of forced disappearances of young fishermen.
Oh, they're doing that now?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But Kwani, how many have disappeared? I know of the Odhiambo that was it Odhiambo or Otieno?
There had been other cases before.
Yeah.
They were not highlighted. But I need to understand the connection. So if young men have disappeared, then?
So they're like, okay guys, munapotea wengi, so situfanye hivi. First of all, no more fishing until we establish.
That's the problem. It's not that they're... Look.
Yeah.
If somebody gets lost, it means they were supposed to head in a certain destination. They didn't get there, and people wonder where they got to. If people have gone fishing, then the alternatives are not really that many.
Yeah.
Either somebody abducted them or killed them.
Or they drowned, yes.
Yes. Or some animal killed them.
Yeah, because they are like a hippo.
Like, I don't know if there are hippos there, but I do know.
A crocodile.
No, there are no crocodiles. But I know the other wild animals.
I mean, a cheetah will not drown them in the water.
Well, neither will a leopard, neither will a lion, neither will a buffalo.
I think there are no hippos in Lake Nakuru.
Not that I know. Not that I know.
I mean, I know Lake Nakuru has flamingos.
Yeah, they don't drown people.
Wow. Acha tuone. Lake Nakuru Nakuru. So wanasema hivi.
It doesn't have hippos, bro.
Actually, it does. Wanasema there are many hippos in Lake Nakuru.
Good. I'm now informed.
Yeah. They are saying that there are over 400 resident species on the lake surrounding the park, and the hippo is one of those 400 species found within that ecosystem. Yeah, so the directive was issued by committee chairperson Fatuma Dulo during a meeting held on Tuesday with officials from the Kenya Wildlife Service and petitioners who raised concerns about alleged abuses within Lake Nakuru National Park. Kuna yule jamaa tuliambiwa alipotea some 2 years ago. Yeah, and then some KWS rangers were arrested in connection with that particular disappearance. They have never found the body of this particular man, despite much
this madness
digging around that place
leads people whose function is to offer security to citizens for them to turn around and do the complete opposite.
Yeah, I actually feel you on this, city. It's cray, like our GM would say.
Do you remember the other time when there was this young man? His name was also Boniface Bwangi.
Yes.
A guy shoots him. The guy was selling face masks. Are you thinking, hey?
I think venye from the video tuliona akimwambia
video.
Akimwambia ni kama alikuwa anamwambia bwana toka hapa. Then probably Boniface Mwangi said something and then the guy just decided.
He was walking away.
Yeah.
That video is not unclear. So you wonder, what? You shoot a guy dead.
You know me, I'd like to understand, because we've heard of trigger-happy cops. If you really want to shoot at something, CBD has got many things you can actually shoot at. Like if you really need to just fire that gun, you don't have to fire it at someone and then you drop them dead. If it were me and I really feel like I need to shoot, I would shoot. There are trash cans za CBD, bros zinakuanga mingi pale. Unaona CBD nini nyingine inakuanga pale? If you really want to practice your aim, we have traffic lights. Imagine you can shoot that light. We will replace it with our taxis. Yeah. You can literally shoot at anything in the CBD.
No, Paul, those people should not be allowed. Such a person should never be allowed back. Never, ever be allowed back to do that work.
And here's the funny thing. Even after those incidences of extrajudicial killings we've heard of and we have actually witnessed, just during and after the protest, I saw another cop. Jamaa ameshuka tu kwa pikipiki vizuri sana na akatoa bunduki yake. Crowd ndo ile pale. He just aimed at the crowd and shot. And I was like, what?
During the demonstrations, we've seen videos of a police kneeling down, taking aim and shooting.
Yeah.
I witnessed on the expressway.
Live.
Policeman, yes, up there aiming at the crowd.
Yes.
Yes, I saw. So this is not I was told, I saw. I'm thinking, what? Why are you aiming at the crowd?
Yani you as an individual, you decide today that person over there is not going to get home alive. Actually, no. That man or that boy over there or that woman for that matter, today is going to spend the night in a mortuary. You know, you having that power to decide and then you actually actualize it, you have got to be a very different kind of human being. PS Mwangi confirms Kenyan government will meet CAF hosting deadlines. PS alisema bro bwana, hizi vitu ni kama hazitafanyika. Hii kitu mnaita hosting AFCON kidogo itakuwa tricky mtu wangu. We have a deadline. I think it's how many months? Let me just read this. The government has expressed confidence on meeting key Confederation of Africa football deadlines in regards to hosting Africa Cup of Nations next year. The principal secretary in the State Department for Sports, Elijah Mwangi, said on Sunday that there was adequate time provided by CAF to Kenya to comply with key requirements, chief among them the payment of 3.9 billion as requisite hosting fee. 3.9 billion. I want you to remember this figure. Yes, shillings.
That one we can afford.
3.9 billion.
One day's corruption.
Number one, yes, you're very right. 1.5 days corruption. We have this money. Like we just said today, guys, we are not stealing any money.
Guys, today, just today.
Leo msibe tunanid kulipa CAF.
Yes, na CAF, when CAF comes, there'll be enough for you to steal. You'll make up for it. But for this one,
for today,
allow us to just take this money to pay.
Yeah.
It'll come back.
Or today we don't steal, we pay this CAF thing. Then tomorrow we steal double.
Yes. Or just add a little half. Give it, break it up into 4 days. Quarter. Then you'll be good. You'll have met your quarter.
Yeah,
we can afford it.
We can actually, but as we are having this drama, I think I saw something some days ago. I'm forgetting on which paper. State House kuna some 3.2 billion waliitisha sijui kufanya kazi gani.
Was it not 700 million?
700 million. What I saw was some 3 point something billion for some specific thing that for me was very unnecessary. Then I was like, so we are. We haven't paid 3.9 billion, and this is just hosting fee. Stadiums bado nasikia zinakaa vibaya sana.
You have to pay that money because one, you have to show capacity. Forget the physical capacity.
Yeah,
bro, that thing is going to bring chaos into this town. That.
Yeah.
If we don't expand the road network.
Yes.
If we do not find transportation routes and provide ways and means you can have mass transport within that short time,
right,
that thing is going to be chaotic.
It'll
be very chaotic.
And this is
for the country, but it'll be chaotic.
And this is amidst this other problem that we have. Nyayo and Kasarani are not ready to host AFCON.
What are they ready to host?
Aye, they are not ready. They are far from ready.
What is it that they haven't gotten? Grass.
Vitu mingi sana. Including your grass.
When is AFCON?
AFCON is next year. Next month? Year uko November, December na uko.
We have time. That one we have time.
We have time, Aye.
So we have time.
All right.
Until we don't have time, we have time.
I like your confidence, City. This is Kenya we are talking about. Do you know Kenya?
I am a man of faith. This, what we're discussing, falls into the realm of faith. You believe.
Okay, ni sawa. Kama ni faith umesema tutakuwa nayo, wacha tukue na faith. Tuko na faith Kipyegon lakini. Looking at Kilimani area, you guys are actually having a good time this morning. Oh wait, I spoke too soon. You're not having a really good time because kuna some trouble at the Junction Mall. It's a little bit jammed up right now, but it's moving nonetheless. Adams Arcade pale kwa hiyo junction iko shida mbili tatu. Ngong Road pia pale Ring Road Kilimani hapo kwa mali Ring Road inapatana na Ngong Road. Hapo kuna kashida kiasi. Alafu twende pale kwa ile roundabout ya Nairobi Funeral Home. Hiyo roundabout lakini nikiangalia ni juu watu wana join hiyo roundabout. Kila kitu kiko shwari. No need to panic. Angaya, Haile Selassie inakaa vizuri tena sana. If you're heading into the CBD, you will actually get there in record time. Landis Road also not looking bad this particular hour. Jogoo Road as you're getting into Bama Market inakaa iko sawa kabisa. Heshima Avenue watu ambao wanaenda kule hii barabara inaendanga wapi sasa? Buruburu iko tu sawa kwa sasa. Naangalia pia Jogoo Road mnasonga wase. Mnasonga vizuri ile asubuhi ya leo. Acha niangalie Outer Ring Road also not looking bad. Wait. Outer Ring Road, as you're heading towards Donholm, that is if you're coming from the airport, there's some jam there. Savannah Road as well, some jam as you're joining Outer Ring Road. Manyanja Road pia as you're joining the Outer Ring Road pia iko na kajam, lakini zaidi hapo mnasonga vizuri tena sana. Jacaranda grounds uko mko fit, no problem. Hapa Jacaranda ni mahali siku nyingine county limwaga takataka ndio watu wasihold rally.
Yes.
Guys, this country of ours. Yeah. Embakasi Airport North Road not looking bad at this particular hour. Eastern Bypass looking good as well. Thika Super Highway, need I tell you? Si mnajua malishida zenyu zinakuanga pale Muthaiga. That place, I don't know. And I think that bypass, not bypass, what they call it, what? Expressway they want to build will actually change the dynamics of traffic in this particular area. So I really cannot wait, because you shouldn't be taking 3 hours to get to the CBD. It doesn't make sense.
You do know that once the expressway will help tremendously.
For sure.
It certainly will. But There is an entire rethink that is required for the road network in this city. The population we have in this city is of a magnitude that requires infrastructural, not just rethink, but reshaping. Ni muhimu.
Mimi nikiwahi fungua kampuni Nairobi, Kenya, I will definitely not open it up in the CBD. Tafungulia tu kunje. Unajua outskirts. Akina Sabaki, Kitengela, wacha watu wache kungangana kukuja town bwana.
Traffic on Radio Generation.
All right, let's dive into the newspapers this morning. Tukianza na custody horror. They're saying brutalized. This is on the Standard newspaper. The dramatic arrest and detention of former Cabinet Secretary Raphael Tuju has ignited the storm of police conduct after he spent hours in a cell despite deteriorating health. Lawyers say that he was denied hospital care until his condition worsened, raising fears over custodial treatment. Even as detectives pursue charges of false reporting, the saga has spiraled into a high-stakes clash over rights, due process, and political power. So waliona huyu jamani kama amezidiwa, ndio wakasema mpelekeni basi hospitali. That is basically what they are saying. Now, Eugene Wamalwa, who is one of Tuju's lawyers, has said this. Although all through the night, he was held in a very cold cell without the facilities he needed. For over 18 hours, the officers did not listen to pleas from lawyers, family, or even medics. His situation worsened because he was denied proper care. I saw how Tuju was arrested. He didn't have even a warm sweater on him or a jacket on him. And by the time they were taking him to the police station, and his lawyers were denied access. Is that really something that should happen?
Well, that it happens, it highlights how Kenyans are treated when they are arrested. Does it not? It's a high-ranking Kenyan, somebody who's held positions of authority, minister in 2 dockets over his time in history.
Yes.
Now, if this is how this person is handled, wait.
To be honest, I have been to the police station where I was actually attending to a cousin of mine.
No. You are the one who is being arrested.
I'm talking about a situation that I can actually attest to. So my cousin arrested, and we were at the very least tulikuwa allowed kumwongelesha, but from the OB side, just to understand why he has been arrested, and so we can also know how to proceed. So it was a battery case. He was in a establishment somewhere, and they exchanged a few blows with his buddies that they were drinking with. So,
and who won the fight?
Of course he did. Have you seen my cousin? I'll show you a picture of my cousin. They were even stupid to get into that fight with him. But anyway.
They made a mistake.
They made a mistake. I don't think they understood what they were doing.
The dynamics was lost on them at that moment in time.
Yeah, and there were several, and he was alone. But I'm not condoning violence, guys. But yeah, so he found himself on the other side, and we were at the very least allowed to see him. We didn't need to bribe anyone. We didn't need to beg anyone. We were just like, afande tumekuja, mko na fulani pale ndani. Sawa sawa. Tunajua hana sweater. Number 1, tumemletea jacket. Yeah. Number 2, tudhani amekula kitu because alikuanga anafanya ile kitu. So he must be hungry where he is. So we brought him a few items to chew on, and we imagine we were allowed. And as in, it wasn't a big deal, but they continued holding him until his case was determined, because he was actually arraigned in court and akajitetea vilivyo.
See, that is different.
Yes.
We are told as in we have read and have been informed,
right,
that the police said they had orders from Abba.
Now that is where I was driving at, because for this particular case, this is a politician, and interests, nikicompare interests za Tuju na za kazini yangu, different things. So there were certain people interested in this gentleman, or there are certain people interested in this guy called Tuju. Why wasn't his counsel allowed to see him and attend to him in terms of, bro, what do you need? Shika sweater, number 1. Because he was in a police cell, we were told overnight.
Karen ni baridi, bro.
Karen ni kubaridi sana. I've actually lived in Karen, so ninajua Karen kuna baridi nyingi sana. Na hapa umewekwa kwenye seli huna blanketi.
It is stuck, it is bare, it is inhospitable, and it smells.
Smells. Kwanza hapo kwa smell. Yeah. So this one is a very tricky case. I don't know how they will deal with
What
this.
I wonder is this story of from above, is it really always from above, or is that something that people just say? Because then we pick it up and we start wondering who the above is. We tend to end up with the president. And then you have to ask, okay, let's go. The immediate above is who? The OCS. After that is OCPD. What are they called nowadays?
Base commander.
Or whatever they're called nowadays. So what beef would they have with why?
With the mfungwa.
Yes.
Or the mshukiwa for that matter.
What is it? And if you keep going higher.
Because they don't know each other personally.
Really.
Unless they do, but they don't.
Not really. Then if you keep going higher, you end up with the IG. So that's above. The above within the police service is IG. Abovest.
You know, I think tunathaningi maybe especially karona kwanga police station. Forget these ones that we meet in the streets and then they shoot at us. The ones that you actually meet at the because I don't think the ones that are in the streets shooting at people are the ones we find in the police station.
No.
Yeah, those ones are special force.
The desk jockeys are different.
And I have actually met these guys kwa police station, and they're very polite.
Very civil.
Despite whatever it is that you have done, forget whatever you have done, unless you have killed. But even if you have killed, they're actually very civil with you. Unatakaje? Ngoja hapo ndani. Unataka kuona mama yako? Ngoja. Anaitwa nani? Ako hapo nje, nikamwite. They go then kidogo anarudi mpaka anakuambia hayuko. This guy is actually good. Despite what we see and heard.
This story has to be looked into. We hear this from above story very often, and I'm not certain what it is that it means. And I'm not certain who the above person is.
Yeah.
Yes. But people draw conclusions immediately. And then they add. Wanataka shamba ya Tuju. Before you know it, the president has come into it. And I'm thinking, the chain of command, the time you get to the president, you get in defu.
Unless this above person, because most of the times wanasemanga ni president, unless the president called himself, because it can't get higher than the president, sure.
And why would the president call the OCS or whoever it is in current police and says, shika? I mean, come on, man.
Musipatie sweater.
No. That, in my opinion, is the excuse that is used when the beef doesn't go beyond a certain level. It doesn't even get to the IG. It is assumed that when you say from above, you won't ask questions.
But Nani, when Tuju was arrested and then taken to the station, and then now the lawyers and the press were not allowed to access the station, there's actually a cop who came with a gun. Mpaka Nani alikuwa anauliza, unakuja na gun kufanya nini hapa? I think it was Ndegwa Njiru. Unakuja na bunduki kufanya nini? Unakuja na and he was really shouting. Because this guy came with a...
Ndegwa tends to shout.
Yeah, he was he came with a rifle. So he was walking towards the gate, and then whoever was shouting, unakuja na bunduki kufanya nini? Then that cop came, and you could see in his face, he had zile za usifungulia watu. That kind of face. I don't know if that is exact words he said.
No, I understand the yes.
But to put it into context,
the facial expression had written on it.
That face.
That one.
Edna, zoom on that face. But you get, like, the guy was like, usifungulia watu no matter what happens, watu wakitaka kuwapita nayo, wakitaka kuruka juu msikuwa.
Which means he had been told, deal with that situation.
Yeah.
Look, these things will eventually all come out. There are those who will point fingers at the Minister for Interior.
Yeah.
There are those who will point fingers at the peer. They'll keep pointing fingers. Look, a sober reflection on this particular issue is what is required. Tuju was handled badly.
Period.
Very, very badly. Even if it wasn't Tuju, nobody needs to be. You are already at the police station. You have agreed. He did not resist going. He went. There are ways in which you could have gotten him into the cell and explained things. It is a dangerous precedent that is being set. Where you're bundled into the police cells, you're incommunicado, and nobody wants to explain anything. That is not good.
They actually tried being civil with these two sides, the police and the Tuju side. Walimuuliza vizuri sana. The lawyers were asking the police, is he under arrest? So for a very long time, the police were saying, no, he's not. We just need him to go and record the statement. Then kidogo, they were like, okay, he's under arrest now. After they realized this conversation is not going anywhere.
Not only that.
Yeah.
They were civil the issue of getting to whose car. Then the moment he disembarked from the vehicle,
Jamaa
he was bundled
alibebwa.
The last time I saw this thing was when Macharia Gaitho, the journalist,
yes, was arrested at the same place, by the way.
Same. Yes, and I saw clips where there's a policeman. The guy had entered the car. The guy was still kicking him in there. What is it about this violence, man? I mean, what is it?
If police just identify themselves, if they are to walk in here, for example, my name is Inspector so and so, Mbuvi, you're under arrest. Of course, I have questions. Under arrest for what? What did I do? Okay.
They are supposed to tell you.
Yes. So they will tell me you're under arrest because of you stole 10 million. So we need to go with you to Integrity Center or to Central Police. You explain yourself. I'll be like, okay, can I at least have someone with me to accompany me, like someone like CT, for example? They'll be like, okay, no, you can't. Then we negotiate. Like, okay, can at least CT follow us in a car? Yes, 20 cars. We get into the car, get to Central Police Station. Then from there, it's very simple. CT will contact my family, contact my lawyers, and then I don't see why that didn't happen, yet Tuju actually complied. He got into a vehicle that they both agreed, which was Kalonzo's vehicle. They got to the police station. Why all that kumbeba kama upepo? Hiyo ndio sikuelewa. Like amekuja station, alikuwa anakuja ku make statement.
Hata gunia viazi haibebu hivyo.
Haibebangu hivyo. Amefika station. Like he's already in your custody, guys. Hiyo ingine ya kumchukua cha lazima sasa mumweke kwa Subaru.
It is like there's this need for you not just to embarrass someone, humiliate them, but it is in your interest to manhandle them in the worst possible. Come on, man. I mean, what is all this?
Karen is within the jurisdiction of Karen Police Station, Sindio?
That's why it's called Karen Police Station.
Why did they need to take him into a Subaru into another location, or rather to another location?
This, again, is a trend that Kenyan police service... I mean... Why is all this necessary?
Mungemwambia hata kutoka Karen, we are not taking you to Karen Police Station. We are taking you to DCI headquarters, for example. I think he would still have complied.
I believe these fellows were acting under instruction.
So they duped him to Karen Police, then wakamwambia keshuka. Then Subaru walikuwa wamesema tango 1 tango 2 Subaru kwa tayari huyu jamaa tukifika tu tunataka tupeleke mbio. So when he got there, they took him to the Subaru. You know what, let's focus on something else. We'll talk about Tuju.
No, I am focusing on this for a very simple reason, Paul.
Right.
I was a young man during the period when people would just get picked up at night. When these things were the norm. We had a deja vu moment immediately after the 2024 protests when this was happening regularly. This is not something that should be encouraged. It is not. This precedent is bad. Let me remind those who do not know that when you had the Kayabomba problems at the coast, more so in Kwale,
I have read all that Kayabongo story.
One of the first casualties was a police station at Likoni. They killed and burnt the police. They killed, burnt the police station, took off with arms.
Yeah.
We cannot have a situation where there's an adversarial relationship between the police service and the public. It is not good. It is not good. Because when tensions rise, then it becomes a free-for-all, and it is not a good thing. Recovering from that broken down position of systems and law and order is not something that is easy to recover from. So you don't want to get there. And an action such as this one, when you have a prominent person, it heightens a situation that need not have gone that way. It was an opportunity for this man to have been handled in a very civil way that anybody look and saying, it was handled properly.
Yeah.
Whatever the issues are, but we can see. But man,
you
don't, when you're arresting someone, why must you manhandle them in that way? What is it?
Actually, the reason why we had all these high-profile folks, that is Akina Kalonzo, Eugene Wamalwa, and former AG Justin Mutudi, the reason why those folks were there is because the Kenya police has got this history and reputation as well of mishandling, manhandling, and then we've heard of forced disappearances and so on and so forth. If the police had a very clean record of tunashikanga mtu vizuri, tunamweka vizuri, tunampeleka police station vizuri, anachajua vizuri,
and you'll find him there,
anakuwa arraigned in court,
yes,
I think this would have been a very simple matter,
forward,
where you even tell Tuju niaje, we have seen that you're safe and sound, kindly can you make your way to Karen
Yes.
a
To
police station.
record
a statement.
That's it.
So that we can understand why on earth whatever happened happened.
Not ours. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
There must be a rough and there must be a tumble and
Look at what they did to Governor Embraer.
Yes.
If and you see, these are the things that actually make now people like Tuju have people to flank him, because you just never know.
It's not even that.
Yeah.
Governor Embraer himself told us about how it is they took the late Joanna Ngeno. This is something that has become a culture. It is a bad culture. It is creating a wedge between the civilians and the police service. It is not necessary. It is not necessary. Even if someone is a known thug and is even known, there needs to be some decorum in the way people are handled.
Yeah.
Because these are the things that lead to civil disobedience. People decide, okay, fine. Let there be conflict then. It is not necessary.
Yeah. Because if they had just told Tuju, you're under arrest, under suspicion of false disappearance or whatever it is, I mean, that's a charge. Can we now deal with this particular charge? Arrest the guy, take him to the police station, have him processed as any other suspect would be processed. Let's go to court. Let's argue it out.
You know, there's this culture of impatience where the moment you seem to speak something that is contrary to what those in the police service think, see, for heaven's sake, this new constitution, you have to conduct yourself in a certain way.
Yeah.
These things, not long from now, will come under scrutiny and a spotlight. And unfortunately, there'll be that story of the police, members of the police service are being picked on. No. You don't need everyone in the police service to behave in a certain way. You just need to have 3 or 4 people behaving badly, and we will blame, let me repeat, we will blame the entire police service.
Also on your side of the papers.
Low-end phones to be phased out as communication authorities type A charge rules. Low-end phones are being phased out of the Kenyan mandate USB Type-C charging ports for all usable mobile phones sold or produced in the country, aligning with a growing global push to standardize charging technology and reduce electronic waste. So why low-end phones? Why don't you make the low-end phones so that they use Type-C? She supports too. Unabadilisha. Hey, what's this biggie? Ama kuna mtu ashanunua simu anataka kuuzia watu.
I like this country. No, I love this country. Ushaanza kufikiria kama Mkenya.
Oh, but definitely this thing out of the blues. Is this the only way to handle this matter?
Clearly
Is that the only option? We understand the rule. The Europeans already have it.
Yeah.
Yes. Did you hear of them talking about removing low-end phones from the market?
No, they just said going forward, these are the kinds of phones
Why
we produce.
don't you make sure that you tell the manufacturers what you want you to do? Is that not the option that was there?
Yeah.
But this one of ours, remove this low-end phone from the market. So what do you want to sell us now?
High-end phones, my friend. That's what you're going to be. You're going to be buying smartphones.
Right. Crypto fever rises. This is a business daily.
Okay.
At 50 firms eye Kenyan entry. Okay, more than 50 digital currency firms, including the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance, are in talks to set up regional headquarters in Nairobi, attracting a growing adoption and tax incentives as Kenya seeks to position itself as East Africa's leading financial hub. Okay, so Business Daily. Western Express unlocking trade. You remember we've had this discussion about the SGR and what it stands to do. Lower transport cost, efficient access to border markets await traders. That is what the Star is saying with regards to the SGR that is supposed to go to Kisumu and then to Malaba. Narok to Kisumu is 264 kilometers.
Okay.
Kisumu to Malaba is 107 kilometers. And you see the railway is going to pass from Narok. Okay? Inaenda Bomet, inaenda Nyamira, inaenda Kericho, then inaenda Kisumu. Then ikielekea Malaba itapitia Siaya, itapitia Vihiga, itapitia Kakamega, itapitia Busia. What I want you to note is the number of counties it passes through. It will enhance business in a way that we've never considered it before.
Okay.
But my thinking this isn't enough. There is need for us to consider a superhighway, this Ronimau summit. Yes. That too would enhance trade.
But that thing is, it's on course, right?
As I said, with these things, I will wait for it to start and to finish.
Okay.
Court to rule on Tuju bail as police probe abduction claim. The drama around former CS Rafael Tuju intensified as he was rushed to hospital for emergency treatment. While his lawyer sought anticipatory bail, Tuju was taken to Karen Hospital after his blood sugar allegedly dropped to dangerous levels while in custody at Karen Police. Ujamali kwa jakula chochote. And this can kill you.
Yes, it can.
The low blood sugar.
It is called hypoglycemia.
Yes, that's what it's called. Oh, that thing can kill you.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and by the way, whatever they're claiming that is a problem, it's bailable.
Yeah.
Even murder is bailable. In this country, utapata bail. Daily Nation. Grief, politics collide. Stop exploiting our girls' death for political mileage, families tell leaders. This arises from the comments that have been made by the president with regards to the impregnation of a girl, not mentioning any name, and then the response by former deputy president that he has become so petty as to point is using to post Madira bloggers. I'm not reading the full details because I don't want to propagate this story.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
There's the story of two young ladies, Maureen Kinyua and Regina Wairimu, who died following a hit and run. This was Maureen. And then Regina, the murder is still unresolved. Okay? This is politics now. Very many people get killed in this country. There are girls who are murdered by people who, some were pictured, some were not. Those things are unresolved to date.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is why the femicide story became such a big thing in Kenya. Hit and run, you've killed that lady, that's femicide now. This lady died, okay? And the death is unresolved, so we don't know who. So we can't term it in any way.
Yeah.
The thing that you should take note of is that fuel shortage spreads. 14 days is the timeline within which the next ship docking to bring fuel to this country is expected.
There's another country by this city, and I'm forgetting which country it is, but I saw yesterday as breaking news. They say that they do not have fuel for the next 1 month.
You in shida, bro.
Yeah. Ni shida kubwa.
So it happens, they will be walking to work.
If it happens here, I don't know. Sijui nianze kuongea na HR mapema, because like I told you, several petrol stations along where I live, bwana hizo vitu zimefungwa.
Seriously?
Kuna moja specifically where I love fueling.
They told you fuel here hapa na
hata hawakwambii lights are off.
They've told you.
Yeah. Ni venye tu you can't drive in and be like hiyo Kimani iko.
After teaching grade 10 learners for one term, teachers in senior schools are now warning that the 3 chaotic years of junior school marked a lack of labs, teachers, and basic learning resources laid a poor foundation. We spoke about this.
We did. Was it yesterday or the day before?
I will be speaking about it for some time that, there was a gap in junior primary. That is going to catch up. The teachers are saying there's a gap now.
Yeah.
So it has come, it has landed. The 14, 20, the bodies that have been exhumed from the Kericho mass grave is 32.
Yeah.
30 what?
2. Yeah. And 25 of those ones are kids.
Yeah, so that one, don't you think that needs a bit of an explanation? It does.
How do 32 people disappear?
How does 14 get to 32? That's 18 more.
Yeah.
How? And many of them are kids. How?
How do 25 children vanish from somewhere and no one is asking questions?
Let me tell you, Paul.
Yes.
It's a good thing that we're on air. When the rot sets in, what it sets in motion is something that you haven't anticipated, and it tends to be more bizarre than you imagined.
Yeah.
The rule of law, once it has been watered down, it opens the doors for atrocities like you've never, ever, ever seen before. Corruption is not just what it is, the manifest. No. It is the manifestation of the rule of law having broken down. Where it is gung-ho and it is a free for all.
Yeah.
Yeah. My friend, when the tentacles spread nicely, everybody feels that in their own little way, it's like free time and free weekend for all the crazies. Everybody comes out with their brand of madness.
And they display it for all to see.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's the news with Winnie Maganga. Do stand by, because in the next hour, the People's Breakfast still continues.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Radio Generation. Radio Generation assumes no responsibility or liability for the interviewee's views. This is Radio Generation. In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast, curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast, your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights, Radio Generation.
All right, and we are back. This is Radio Generation, the People's Breakfast. My name is Mung'ala Mbuvi. Technical lead kidogo, so news kwa sasa itangoja. City, good morning once again.
Good morning.
Let me take a look at the taifa leo that I didn't have a chance to look at. Uhaba wa mafuta wanukia. Hiyo umeguzia kidogo. Kauli ya waziri wa kawi na petroli Opiyo Wandayi kwamba Kenya.
Endelea.
Kidogo Kiswahili unajua kidogo nimesoma nimesahau kusoma the full stops and the commas, but kauli ya waziri wa kawi na petroli Opiyo Wandayi kwamba Kenya ina akiba ya kutosha ya mafuta imeendelea kuzua utata, huku hali halisi ikionyesha vituo vingi vya mafuta kote nchini vimeanza kukosa bidhaa hiyo muhimu. I remember the CS actually did say this, that we have enough fuel till due, when he projected whether a month or several months.
Let's take him at his word.
Yeah.
And assume that people are hoarding then,
so that they can hike the prices.
Remember, on the 14th of every month, Embraer normally comes, 14th to 15th, they come and tell us,
yes,
fellow Kenyans.
Right.
Okay? So, there's that story, and we do have a culture of hoarding when such things arise. Anything for the extra shilling, okay? But is that really the true story?
Good question.
Yes, because that is where my mind will go to. But does it represent reality?
Who are these people who just decide to take Kenyans who are these people who decide to play with Kenyans' lives the way they do? Because this is actually playing with people's lives in this way. Maybe there's someone somewhere, nyumbani kwake, who might have an emergency and they did not have fuel from yesternight or yesterday or a couple of days ago because there was no fuel station that had fuel closest to them. So this morning, perhaps they find themselves in an emergency and the only vehicle in their vicinity doesn't have fuel. So therefore, they cannot deal with this emergency.
My friend, it is a problem.
Who decides to play with our pockets and our wallets? Tumesota tayari.
The minister doesn't control what the people who market, sell, retail, wholesale fuel. He doesn't control them.
I'm actually not blaming the minister here. But I'm blaming someone. And I do not know this person.
I am not casting blame. I am wondering why it is he made that statement. Clearly somebody informed him. Okay? And I'm wondering where the truth lies. This is really where I am questioning.
Yes.
Do we actually have fuel? Or was Opiyo Wandayi just speaking? Because that man is one of the most colorless CSs this country has.
I wish, and this is, if I was CS Opiyo Wandayi today, I would identify, ni petrol station gani ina mafuta? I swear I would go to that petrol station and ask the manager there, where do you get your fuel from? Because I told Kenyans we have fuel for the next, even if it's 1 year. I told Kenyans we have fuel. Sindio?
Why do you think I've just referred to him as colorless? Is this not something that he should have considered? He has a PS. There are all these people who work in that ministry. Are you telling me that when the first news of Vivo fuels having a problem, you think that question should not have been asked? Is it not his job to allay the fears of the citizens to say, folks, this is what you run ahead of it. You don't wait for it to catch up with you.
Yeah. Nitaenda pale, like you're saying, nitaenda pale Shell petrol station, tuseme ni Hurlingham yenye haina, sijui kama ya Hurlingham iko na, but to assume ni hiyo haina. I just go to Hurlingham, manager, unatoanga mafuta yako wapi? Natoanga place fulani. Aya, I go there. Mbona Hurlingham hawana mafuta? It's as simple as that, because I told Kenyans we have fuel.
Yes.
Yeah, so
na nyinyi ndio mliniambia hii fuel iko.
Huyu anasema anatoanga mafuta kwenu. Okay, mko na mafuta? Mbona mtapeleka huko? Okay, nyinyi pia mna mafuta? Okay, mafuta yenu mnatoanga wapi? Tunatoanga pahali fulani. Aya. Boss, nitafika ikibidi mpaka nifuate your pipeline mpaka Mombasa. I'll follow that pipeline.
We've had this problem before where there was no fuel in Kenya, yet there was fuel in Uganda.
Yes.
Remember that story?
I remember it very well.
And it was explained and said, guys, actually the fuel going to Uganda is theirs.
Hiyo walinunua kivyao.
It's not us. We are this company, but it's theirs. Right? So that's what we're doing. No, it's costing more. You're making more money there. The love of Kenyans for that extra shilling gets us into some really sticky situation. And at the end of it, the people who get the short end of the stick are the citizens. Do we have fuel or don't we? It's not complicated.
Do you know, even during kawaida times, when we do not have a war in Israel and Iran, when people are not bombing each other, when we do not have problems in Ukraine and Russia, life inakuanga too difficult for kawaida Kenyans.
Yes.
Now, there is this artificial shortage perhaps, or maybe someone just lied to us.
If someone doesn't explain it to us in a way that makes sense, we will give it whatever tag we like. And we'll say, these people want to make more money. Even if there's no evidence to support what we're saying, it's what we will say and what we'll think. You know, remember the rule of law and what it is that the abrogation of it sets in motion. We're at it again. But the worst bit of this particular scenario that I'm painting is that the citizens then cement the element of mistrust, and the narrative of mistrust is what becomes the lenses through which they look at everything. So anything that the government does, it is already wrong before. As I said, there's a phrase, it is rotten before it is ripe. Yani washasema ni mbaya, hawajaiona lakini ni mbaya, hawajaisikia vizuri ni mbaya, wakielezwa sasa ndio mbaya kabisa, wakielezwa na ikithibitishwa uongo. Now that is mistrust that has now fully grown. It's mature. It has teeth. It can eat bread. It can even insult you. That is what has happened.
Yeah.
Now, what those who are in positions of authority don't understand. Every position is temporary. Every. When lives are lost, this is the digital age. We can trace it back and determine where the decisions were made, where they came from, and why it is we ended up with the problems that we have. Why do we need to go to this route? Why must we put ourselves in this position, which is clearly adversarial? The Kenyan citizen is already buffeted with really very many problems. The floods notwithstanding, the drought before it notwithstanding, the diseases that are going to follow with all these things notwithstanding. A simple truth. How difficult can that be?
So by holding this fuel, prices are going to go up the moment fuel goes up. And it is a guarantee. It is not even ati guesswork. It is a guarantee. Bus fare itaenda juu. Nyanya itaenda juu.
Kila kitu.
Nyama itaenda juu.
Kila kitu.
Kuku itaenda juu. Samaki, omena itapanda.
Kila kitu. Hata bambla itaenda juu.
Sasa wewe mwenye umehold fuel, wewe utapata pesa yako for sure, na utakuwa mdosi sana. By the way, utakuwa mdosi vipoa sana. But now there's a Kenyan down there that you have no idea how you've changed their lives. People wanachangwa na mabibi zao na mabwana zao because of such nonsense. Anyway, in this particular hour, we wanted to talk about something absolutely different. Ni venye tumeona tuguzie hiyo kwa sababu ni muhimu tena sana. I don't know where you're watching us from, but I hope that wherever it is, mbona mitandao yangu inataka kunisumbua saizi.
Finya hiyo button ya red.
Hata hii button ya red ni kama kidogo itanisumbua. But yeah, come on. All right. Here we go. There's a whole issue here that I'm facing, but I will sort it out shortly. Here we are. Thank you so much. In this particular hour, I want to talk about the Tukukadi movement, which is a game changer, by the way. And in studio, we do have Alan Ademba. Alan, a very good morning to you. How are you doing, my brother?
Bro, nimweleze proverb kidogo.
Utamweleza tu saizi, but tumjulie hali yake kwanza.
Kwanza ni mzuri sana. Na tuambie kwa nini anaitwa Alan Ademba.
Alan Ademba. Alans with an S.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Alans.
Wako wengi.
All right. Alans.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Radio Generation.
Thank you.
I've been seeing you on TV. Finally, now you're here.
I've been watching City and you everywhere. So
so we've been watching each other. City ako na methali angependa share na wewe kutoka country inaitwa Angola.
Yeah.
City, over to you.
You cannot do without water, even if it drowned your child.
You cannot do without water.
Without water, even if it drowned your child.
Can I put it in the context of what I'm doing right now?
Why not?
The context that you find agreeable. Twende na hiyo.
We cannot do without elections, even if there are rumors that there will be stolen votes.
You know what?
Hapo.
Huyu jamaa amefikiria tu kama daktari, amefikiria kama engineer. You know, whenever you encounter these experts, no matter the kind of problem, even if it is a philosophical one, they will always look at it from the perspective of engineering or medicine. So wewe umeiangalia kama mpiga kura wa Kenya.
Zindio.
Thank you so much. That was actually awesome.
Thank you.
Kitu ya kuongezea.
I'm grateful.
Hivyo venye iko ilikuanga too smart.
Asante. Na tuende kazi.
So Alan's, I think the first time I saw this story about Tukukadi, you were in Kasarani, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, Kasarani.
Yeah, it was in Kasarani.
Kasarani.
How did you come up with this? And are you a resident of Kasarani?
Okay, this is it. Mimi, I'm born and raised in Kibra.
Okay.
And last year, around mwezi wa saba, I decided to shift to Kasarani. Nikaingia bedsitter yangu hapo ya 8K.
Hiyo ni bedsitter kubwa.
Yeah, it's big.
Mimi kahawa ndani nilikuwa nishi bedsitter ya 6'5". So hizo beds jabadilika sana.
Na hiyo yako ndani ilikuwa ndogo.
Ilikuwa ndogo. Actually you're right. But yes, Kasarani.
So I moved to Kasarani,
right.
Just normal venye tu U-turn is okay. Nimesahau siko Kibera. Just the same way, so anybody can come.
By the way, watu wa Kibera wanakusikiza
So I moved from Kibera to Kasarani. Then I've stayed there, I think close to 6 or 7 months right now. And I moved. Let me give a little bit context. I don't know if you guys
I know we have time, bro.
Okay, so
hii hour ni yako. You are the content expert. So take the conversation the direction that you find comfortable and suit you.
So last year, something happened that altered the direction my life was taking in a good way. So if you guys remember, there was a documentary that hit the country last year called Blood Parliament.
Yes.
So I was the one in the documentary. I'm a part of the people who made it and everything else by that documentary by BBC.
Right.
So that just to tell you that it's not something that I'm starting today. It's something that I've been doing. So once that documentary came out, there were a lot of tensions on where I was staying. And now the documentary came out as something that was fighting the government. And Kibera is a pro-Baba, pro-Raila. Then you fighting Raila in Kibra was not something good. So, decided let me just move out because of better take precautions.
But let me ask you, Alans, were you actually fighting Raila?
No.
Yeah.
No, he grew up there. He knew Kibra.
I knew Kibra very well.
He understood with this documentary, there are people who will look at it as though he's fighting Raila.
Okay.
And those people are not going to take you to court.
Yeah, exactly.
They will deal with you
wao
then.
Ni polisi, wao ni koti, wao ni jela.
Okay.
They are the judges. They decide what you do.
Okay.
So as a result, I decided to move to Kasarani. That was the most affordable place that I could find at that time. So nikuwa tu Kasarani. After all that while, I was very vocal on social media. Then last year is when the continuous voter registration started. And now the information that was coming from the media was that these younger people are not actually registering to vote. Despite all the online noise that we make, despite all the protests that we attend, when it comes to the time that we are supposed to actually take, let me say, a good cause by registering to vote, we are not doing that. So I say, okay, I consumed the information for a minute. Then I think 2 weeks ago, on was it on 15th this month, a friend of mine from Kahawa texted me that Ademba, because she knew I was very involved in hizi vitu za politics and governance na voter registration, mobilization. So she texted me and told me that, why don't you take me to go register for voting? I had done a certain videos, this one in people dancing, showing their voters card, people dancing, show their voters card with a group of people that we work with. It was a 1 week gig. So the video went viral, she saw it, she texted me, and mimi nikasema it would be difficult for me to come all the way from Santon to Kahawa to take one person to register as a voter. So I decided to put a tweet out there and said that I'm looking for 100k unregistered voters in Kasarani to take
100,000 unregistered voters.
Yeah. Okay. In my mind, I knew very well that it's not going to work, because getting 100,000 people and you're just a beginner, nobody knows you, it was going to be difficult. So I put it that way, so it to gain a little bit of...
Hata Boniface Mwangi anayejulikana sana, hawezi pata 100,000 in one go.
Now that's the thing. If you study the psychology of social media, you know what is likely to gain numbers and what is likely not to gain numbers.
Okay.
So the 100k was initially going to trigger some people to react on it, to jump on it. Then the moment they jumped on it, it went viral. I created a WhatsApp group, then quoted the same post with the WhatsApp group and said that if you are willing to join, please join this WhatsApp group, so that we plan a day and we go to Kasarani to register for voting. Then I put it on 17th, that is the other Tuesday. And then within 3 or 4 hours, I had over 100 people in the WhatsApp group.
Wow.
Then I started now updating people, creating the curiosity. By the end of the third day, we were around 600 people in the WhatsApp group.
What?
By the actual day, that is on Tuesday, we were around 800 people in the WhatsApp group. So by the time we were registering, I still nilikuwa na... Let me say I was second guessing that if people actually going to come. Now the only thing that I did is, the first person that came, I recorded, posted it. The second person recorded, posted it. I started creating curiosity, then making the whole
and
process,
awareness,
and awareness, and making the whole process fun. The people who come, we do TikToks, we do trends, then we post on both X, Instagram, TikTok, and also, sharing them on the WhatsApp group. So even people who are in the WhatsApp group but had not yet attended were willing to come. And the videos, apart from them making that, let me say, convincing people in the WhatsApp group to come now, was also doing good numbers on social media.
Wow.
So numbers started going up, and the people within Kasarani noticed. So people just started streaming in. By the time we were leaving Kasarani, we had registered 641 people on that same...
On that day, you registered 641?
Yeah, on that same day, we registered 641 people.
Are you a registered voter yourself?
Yes, I voted in 2022, and I worked as an IBC clerk in 2022.
Okay, so are you currently registered still in Kibra, or
I'm registered
changed?
in Kibra, and I'm still going to vote in Kibra.
Okay, all right.
But maybe things might happen that make me change to a certain location.
Right.
But for now, I have a conviction that I need to vote in Kibra. So that's how it all happened. Now, past that day, past Kasarani, the conversation was everywhere. Then I said, this thing is not a Kasarani based. The issue of people not registering for vote is not a Kasarani based. It's a Kenya-wide thing. And as I usually say, Kenya does not revolve around Nairobi. Kenya is big. Now I made it everywhere. The poster that I had used, now I put it open, that everybody can just create a
all
poster.
over Kenya.
Yeah, can just add in the location. If you are in Juja, just type in Juja IBC offices, people come register. And within, let me say, 1 week, it was everywhere.
So you're the person who coined Tukokadi.
Yeah.
How does it feel that it's been used even by the president?
Well, Jana was telling somebody that tukua Kibra. First of all, let me tell you that mbona nakwambia hata mimi nimechanganyikiwa. You know, Kibra is known for somebody to come out, you have to use money. You have to pay the youth to come out. Lazima kuwe na tokens. But now the turnout in Kibra yesterday was crazy for me to even handle. I shared it. You know, you can try mobilize 20 people to do something.
Yes.
And you'll see how hard it is if you're not paying them. And yesterday we had 150 newly registered voters in Kibra.
Wow.
That should tell you something. That is Kibra. Now, missing those numbers, it overwhelmed me to the point that I was, yani ni mimi joka mnachukulia hivi, like, so it was something that people actually wanted to do. It's only that the people mandated to do it was doing it the wrong way. You see?
By the people mandated, you mean IEBC?
IEBC.
Right.
And now...
Was it really the wrong way? Or they were doing it in the way that they thought they ought to do it?
Okay, yeah. They were doing it the way they thought they were to do it, but they had a wrong reading of the people they were supposed to do it.
Remember, IBC is doing what they always do.
Yeah.
They've been doing this for years.
Yes, so,
this is what they used to do even when they were ECK.
I really love that. But
Yeah.
City, honestly, tell me, would you expect your grandchild to enjoy what you used to enjoy when you were a teenager?
If
You have to change the means. You have
Aki
to
has
change the
enjoy
means.
what I used to enjoy when I was a teenager. Atahama. No, the truth is no, why I'm saying this is not in praise of IEBC. It's actually in condemnation of
Okay,
IEBC.
I love that now.
I am saying that IEBC failed to understand, or if they understood it, they didn't act on it, that there was a demographic that thinks differently from the demographics they have dealt with before
In the past.
So that even as they were thinking of registering, remember, we didn't always have biometrics. The moment biometrics came, that was a sign that things have changed. We were in the information age. So the thinking and everything around mobilizing needed to change.
Yeah.
Okay? They did not change with the times. That's really what I'm saying. I'm saying, when I say they were doing what they used to, I'm saying they did not change with the time. And the
okay.
time needed them to change.
You haven't answered my question. How does it feel? Tuko kadi na
I was
tumika
already there.
na
I was
rais
already
mwenyewe.
there. Now I was in Kibra. So then nikasema, because this thing, and mimi nimemwambia, okay, the Kenyans have helped me mobilize across the country. Then say, Kibera is a success. Now let me go to the 5 Embakasi constituency that we had also mobilized. And before that, so I had gone to Anniversary Towers. It was full of people. I had also passed by Kasarani. Kasarani had over 300 people just there waiting to register. Now when I went to Embakasi East, wow. It was totally different. And I have to tell you, the amount of fulfillment that I felt, the amount of conviction that I felt that I'm doing the right thing, I'm living what I actually think that is what I was meant to do. So the fact that the whole country, the media houses, the government itself is jumping on it tells me that, okay, I can do something great with my life, and I can actually be someone greater with my life. And also to say that don't underestimate yourself with the little effort that you put in everything. Just understand.
Alan, I actually have to disagree with you. It's not that you can. You already have. Yes. This thing,
he's encouraging someone else who
no. That you are able to move the needle and get up and do something you haven't done and you could, even if it's just to register. There's no, the if is out of the equation because you've already done it. You see, I have been a proponent of this view. The Gen Z are untested. So as people talk about them, okay, you just keep talking. They are untested. Yeah, they are untested. We have not seen what they can do. Then I became of the view, because I talked to some Gen Zs, that actually they are doing something quietly. Now, what we are talking about here is unique to Kenya in this sense. Something often happens, if you look at the history of our politics, that sets a spark. You are the agent that sets this particular spark, this one, because yesterday I was being asked by one of our colleagues, who's your age mate. He asked me if I was Kadi, and I asked him what he was talking about. Do I have a voter's card? Let me tell you what I told him.
You voted a couple of times.
Let me tell you what I told him. I was a registered voter before you were born. That is what I told him.
Which is actually very true.
Voted many times that
before he was born. Yes. The point being, when you strike upon an idea, but look at it, Alans, you didn't start by doing what you're doing, this particular thing. It's a journey.
It's a journey.
Just look at what you've been doing and you're thinking. You have a civic consciousness that very many people do not have.
Yes.
And there are some who have it, but they don't act on it. See, the difference is you act on yours.
I acted on it and I believed in the cause.
You saw what the documentary. Other people would have feared getting involved in such a thing. You decided, no, this one, it's the right thing to do. You got involved. You realize here, this Kibra, maybe this thing may be misunderstood. Let me go to safety. Having a conviction, having an understanding, and acting on it. Now, if you had not acted on it, we would not be having this discussion.
Thank you. But did you guys see what happened now outside Nairobi?
No.
Tell us.
In Thika, in Juja. Mombasa had a bigger turnout than Nairobi.
Oh yes, I saw
Alan,
Mombasa.
the reason why we've brought you here is that you tell us these things. Me, I have no idea what happened anywhere. So I'm going to sit back and listen to you tell me.
The way we get the numbers is, now after that I saw it was going to be hard for us to even coordinate what's happening. For me to coordinate. It was just taking a life of its own. So it says that people are mobilizing in different parts of the country.
It became organic.
It became organic. People are mobilizing in different parts of the country, right? So I decided, now let me create another WhatsApp group of these people who are coordinating. So like regional coordinators from different parts of the country. So if you are coordinating in a certain constituency in Mombasa, in Kwale and everywhere, you join this WhatsApp group. Now you keep informing us, by this day, we've been able to register this group of people. By yesterday, evening around 7, so we told them by 7 because IBC closes at around 5, 6, depending with the number that they have people showing up. So by 5, they should have given me the number of people who have registered to vote.
Right.
But yesterday we were able to register 60,000 people.
60,000.
And there are people who are not in the WhatsApp group.
Yes, of course.
Take it this way. We have 290 constituencies in India.
Yes.
Now take it that only 200 people from each constituency turned up yesterday and multiply by 290. See the maths. Because now we have to go as low as possible. Take it that only 290 times 290 times 200 and tell me if that's the number that you can just wake up and tell people to go do. No matter how less it is difficult to register, to mobilize just 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Politicians have to pay people to be in their rallies.
10,000 is many. Registering 1,000 is a problem.
It's a problem.
So yesterday you did 60,000. So that's like 200 people in each, because 290 plus times 200 is 58,000. Now there's a question I have for you, and actually it's been echoed by one of our listeners here. The Kikombe anasema Tuko Kadi is a brilliant initiative.
Kikombe, love his content. Do you know that guy?
Yeah, I know. two nilots in a pod.
Yeah.
He went to the same university as I did. Alikuanga ahead of me in Kenyatta University. Now, the Kikombe amesema hivi, Tuko Kadi is a brilliant initiative. I admire it. However, it is important for those that register to vote to now focus on the elected officials in office now, and that's where the election money lies. Now, before we get to the elected officials, what is the next step after we've registered? Because I'm sure we'll register Kenyans for the next couple of months. After registration, what is the next step? Niko na kadi yangu sasa, niko kadi.
Paul, may I run interference?
Yeah, sure, please.
Are the numbers you're hoping to attain in terms of registration? Do you have a ballpark figure you think, if we can get this number of people who had never registered, young people, to actually register, then we will have reached the threshold that we want? Do you have such a thought process?
Yes. And if by last week, the first week of Tuko Kadi, in the game, let me say the pilot week, we were able to register 50,000 people within the first week. And yesterday we registered 60,000. So what I said is, let me be optimistic enough. Now, this I'm not talking about the facts. Now I'm talking about optimism, that this week we are going to raise at least 1 million or 250,000 or let me just say 1 million people. Because now this thing, as we said, I don't know if you relate with this statement. You seem like a retired Gen Z. So this is how we put it, that this week
he's a Gen Z at heart.
Go on, Alan.
So this week is a buddies hangout. This week is a buddies hangout.
Si tunajua buddies ni nini?
Friends. When you think your generation invented the word.
Alan, endelea.
So this week is a buddies hangout.
Yes.
And the only requirement that you need to have to join the buddies in hanging out is your voter's card. So this week, if you see the people coming out to the point kwa nasema hata mimi nikimaliza voter registration tatoka na bibi, if you see the people coming out in those areas, so because they are the same people who have been accused of not registering, so we have to give them a reason to register. If you're saying that we are doing this thing this way, we have to do it that way. So on to your question, do we have a specific number on the people we are looking to register? IBC I expect around 6.3 million, right? So as we are saying that by the end of this year, we should have at least given them the 6.3 million.
Okay.
Now, the only problem that is the enhanced mass voter registration that is to come is only going to be there for 1 month. for 1 month. Now that tells us that we have a very big work to do, that within 1 month, at least to put at 4 million. Yeah? Because now again, the enhanced voter registration is going to be everywhere.
Let me ask the question.
Yeah.
Of those who are not registered, do you know how many young Kenyans are not registered? Let's start. Do you know how many are eligible to have an ID but don't have? Because you need an ID to register, don't you? And how many are who are eligible to register as voters and have not registered? Do you have an idea of the numbers?
I don't have the exact statistic, but what is out there is that by the time 2027 come, at least 75% of Kenyan voters are going to be the younger people.
Okay. They already are.
Yeah.
They already are.
So 75% of Kenyans are going to be the younger people. And if you do the mathematics, that is close to 15 million.
Let me move back a little bit and ask. We know that 70+% of the population in this country are considered to be youth under the age of 35.
Under 35.
Okay. Now to begin hesabu, Kenyan Bureau of Statistics can give us these figures. How many people right now as we speak are above the age of 18? You need to look at those who are registered as voters. Unaangalia your number, you extrapolate, and you'll have an idea of the numbers. Why I'm asking?
Over 10 million, by the way.
Good. Now, that's why I'm asking. The IB threshold is a safe threshold. If you really want to bring change, why do you want to gag yourself? Why do you want to limit yourself to the IEBC's threshold? Yes, I'm asking the question because if 6.4 register, 6.57 register, not all of them will vote.
Yeah, like the last election, close to 10 million people did not vote.
Yes. So if you want the numbers to actually count, why don't you say IBC are set at 6.5, so we're setting it at 10. Then you set a high bar. If you get 8, now, even if 30% don't vote, the number of people who will have entered the voting arena will be extremely significant. They'll be large enough to bring about whatever change, and that change will be determined by the direction in which this group votes. Yes.
And by that demographic enough is big enough to like change
Completely. Not just change,
not overhaul.
Yes.
Not only, it's not going only to overhaul 2027, but change the spectrum of voting from 2027 onwards. It's going to speak a statement that it's not like the status quo, what they usually believe in.
Alans, let me explain. Let me break it down for you. If there is no part of this country where there is no youth bulge, there is no part of the country where young people are not more than everybody else. There's none. It means if they register and they decide to vote, start with the MCAs. And I would urge them to vote for people their age. There are those who will tell you they are too young. The sooner they start understanding politics, the better off we will be. The sooner they start experiencing the difficulties of governing, the better off we'll be. So you will have a threshold of people who are beginning to understand what they need to do. And the people who voted for them will find it easier to hold them to account. Because the people they can relate to directly. Then you move to the MPs. Again, feel free to vote for young people. Go to Senator. There is nowhere where there is nowhere where it says that young people are not able to make good decisions to lead the country. We are not. Our independents, PSs, ministers, and people in government prove this. Many of those people are below the age of 40. There are people who are 28 and they are ministers. Okay? There are people who are not 30. They were PSs. So this story of people being too young.
Like Mudavadi became a minister at a very young age. The first time.
Yes, he did. He wasn't the only one. There are many people who got in when they were... Mudavadi inherited his father's position.
Yeah.
There are people
who actually
at
got
independence, there was no father's position they were inheriting.
So due to their own merit, they got into those positions.
Yes, they got in those positions. Why am I taking this particular line of thinking? If my generation has been a letdown, the likelihood of me changing my mind, even if I'm given a position, is slim. But even if you have people my generation and Bufi's generation who are elected, but the majority of your generation, your thinking will hold us to account. The change you want will happen. But if the people around me are people my age, there will be no change.
And actually, City is right, because even during the 2024 protests, you could tell millennials waliamushwa na Gen Zs. As in, it was very clear. Like unajua zile unasema kama hawa si wanafanya hivi yenyewe tumekuwa tukiduni time yote. So it's actually very easy for what City is saying to happen. But like, you know, now you've understood that whole dynamics of numbers. Like you need to know the numbers that you're gunning for. It's a good thing to do 50,000 last week. It's a good thing to have 60,000 by yesterday. But it's even bigger and better to know that by the end of this month, or by the end of the mass voter registration, let's hit X number. And that, I think, will be a game changer as well.
Start by breaking barriers in terms of the expectations, because if you meet IABC standards, you're not bringing any change. Break those barriers and have numbers that when the people who you are reaching now look at this, and you then create the understanding of the impossible being very possible and very easy to reach.
Yeah.
That is the message, because what you're telling us is precisely that this was not being done. People had even said, this thing can't be done. It is now being done. What brings about that overhaul that we are speaking of in this Kenyan way is, so we say we're a democracy. Oh, fine. So we will, yes, we're going to go with this democracy. The numbers of people who will have a certain conviction will be of a certain threshold that, one, you may have to talk to them,
yes,
but you'll be talking to them when they've already been elected. So you're not talking to them because they're part of the masses who are listening to you talk.
You're talking to us because now we have the power.
You're on the same table talking. So if you want, and they'll tell you, if it doesn't make sense, we have to go back and explain to those people. And that's how they think. So it had better make sense. Now, that particular change, believe me, makes a massive difference.
Yes.
You see, if you look at right now, two countries that have had political parties in what you call sub-Saharan Africa, Tanzania, South Africa. I'm not talking about Namibia and so forth, because their populations are low and the way they go about their politics, it is not as combative as these two countries. The change that is coming about in Tanzania is being resisted violently. Okay? South Africa, they've had no choice. ANC has been in charge for the longest time, and they never thought a time would come when they need a coalition. The moment you bring in a coalition, it means you have a voice you have to listen to do what you need to do. We already have coalitions in this country.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yes. We've moved beyond what I'm discussing. Now, where we are at right now is your generation understanding that beyond voting and electing, there is need to hold leaders to account. The very people you elect, your group, your contemporaries, holding leaders to account. We don't do it.
Now, let's go back to the Kikombe's question.
Yeah.
I don't know if you... Yeah, that's... No, what
he was asking, exactly, what next? So, tumechukua kadi sisi wote alafu.
So, let's focus. That's how I usually say, let's focus. So, the thing is, Tukokadi is not a movement that is going to end at people registering to vote, because we are, as City also said, that we need to look at the numbers. So what we are expecting is 15 million young people going to the ballot as voters, and also us as the leaders, because it's not late or too early hata sisi tunaweza to be elected as leaders and to lead those offices. So this is it. The Tukokadi movement, the way I see it, the way I envision it, is past the voter registration. Voting is a process. Now let's be very keen, or let's be active in the voter education, in the political education, in civic awareness, because the civic consciousness of the younger people is there.
I hope umesema pia political education.
Yeah, nimesema voter education, political education,
civic education,
civic, and just civic consciousness around all of it.
All right.
So now this is it. Once we start with the voter education, now voter education is basically telling people that this is how you need to vote, so that we don't have at least 50, and again, 8 million spoiled votes, you see? And we also tell them that you do, for example, the other day we were telling people, you don't need the card. The card is just let me say, a proof that you've registered to vote, what you need is your ID. Now that is voter education. And you also have to tell these people that you can even use your passport to register for voting. That is voter education. You're telling these people that you don't have to travel to Busia to register as a Busia voter. You can register as a Busia voter in our Westland IBC offices. And you also have to tell these people that when you are registering to vote, please make sure that you register as a voter at a polling station, that you are 100% sure that when elections come, you're going to be in those locations.
Yes, to vote.
You don't have to go with the peer pressure because now people are registering. You just wake up and register. Maybe to register as a voter wa Juja, but that time utakuwa ushago. So, those are voter education.
Yeah,
and another thing, people are coming
to
these locations to register for voting, but unapata somebody wants to transfer kama voter wa niseme Roysambu, but amekuja ku change his voting station at Kasarani constituency. According to IBC, that is not possible. If you want to transfer as a voter wa Roysambu, you have to be in Roysambu to do that exercise.
Okay.
You don't have to go to Kibra constituency. If you want to transfer as a Kibra voter, you have to go do that in Kibra constituencies. But no, those are information that are not there.
So if you're in Kasarani today and you know for sure, on 10th of August, which is when we shall be doing elections. You unataka ku vote Busia. Enda Busia or register Busia.
No, if you want to transfer the vote.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If you want to transfer.
Yeah.
I wasn't clear. So if I want to transfer to Busia, now I need to travel to Busia
to transfer the vote at that specific constituency that you want. But if you are a new voter who just want to vote in Busia at a certain voting station or a certain ward, you can do it here because now you are a new voter. But kama una transfer, don't get it the other way. You have to be in that location. So unapata mtu ame waste time yake amepanga line like the whole day, akifika huko anaambiwa that is not possible. Now that is voter education. Now you have to go to the civic education where you explain to these people not just the voting process, but even the awareness, the constitution, the let me say integrity and everything according to what the constitution tells, what they need to know about their leaders and everything. Now political education, you have to make these people understand that ukiwa 22 you can be elected as an MCA. Ukiwa 27 you can be elected as an MP. Nobody's going to stop you. Ukiwa 30 you can still be elected as these governors because we are also leaders. It doesn't say that ukiwa 40 you are a leader. There are people who are 40, 60, they are bad leaders, you see. So we have to make these people understand that you as a young person, you are eligible to be elected for this post. Now the only thing that you can do is take this first step. Sisi tutakuja, if we see that you are a good leader, we will fight for you, we will vote you in. And being young is not a qualification for being elected. You have to show us your leadership skill. You have to show us your competency. You have to show us your track record. At some point, you have to show us your criminal record. We can't be electing criminals into these offices. Now, that is what according to Mimi, is now the political education.
So that is the next step now.
Now, that is the next step. And now also the civic consciousness and also to be just make Kenyans active citizens. We have to tell them that Nikokadi does not stop at you electing the leader. Nikokadi also entails umetembea. Yesterday nilipitia Mudhurwa market.
Yes.
Nimetembea Mudhurwa market, nimepata the roads are pathetic to the point that even the cars jam in hapo. So Nikokadi also entails that umepata hii shida hapa. You record unasema Nikokadi because of this. We have to change this. We have to elect leaders who are going to fix this road. Nikokadi because this and this is not happening and the person who is supposed to make this happen is just somewhere sitting in Karen or Runda or Lavington. So that's the whole process of Nikokadi. So Nikokadi is a whole thing that is just here to create civic consciousness in the Kenyan citizen, and it's going to be Kenyan led, not a one person led initiative. It's a collective effort.
I have a couple of more questions in regards to how we shall hold our leaders to account, so accountability issues as far as your perspective is concerned. But kuna swali hapa kuhusu Tukokadi. Someone is saying that it seems Tukokadi and generally mobilizing Kenyans to register to vote is a great idea that has been invaded by activists and even some politicians.
There is true, by the way.
There is even talks that you are funded by Open Society.
I saw that yesterday.
What is your take on that?
So there's a lady, I want to tell you, yesterday I had a rough time on social media after the all country voter registration, which is not bothering me, by the way. So there's a lady comes on, put a picture of Mimi, Nerima Wako. They were like other four ladies, Wanjiru, I can't remember, that were funded by a guy called Brian Kagoro.
Bro, stop kidogo. Just start. Yesterday, the picture that came in, the problem you had, you've mentioned names. Just repeat it so that I understand what actually happened. Okay, yesterday.
Now yesterday, venye nilitoka Kasarani, not Kasarani, Kibra, nikaenda Embakasi, I found Embakasi was full of, let me say, celebrities and activists, not celebrities and activists, and everybody has their own opinion on these people. So sisi tulienda pale for goodwill, and these people came. There were a lot of people. If you see the video that came from Embakasi East, there were a lot of people. Now when we went back home, nikamua ningie X, nikapata vitu zimechemuka to the point that I was not expecting. Pale, a talk came out that we are funded by Open Society. Open Society. I almost said open source. You know, open source intelligence.
Yeah.
Study. I also said that.
Okay.
So Open Society and a guy called Brian Kagoro, that we are funded to mobilize. The exact words were to mobilize Kenyans for protest.
Okay.
Not even for registration.
To protest.
Now the question is, what are we protesting for? Are we just going to wake up and start protesting for nothing? Because now Ademba, Nerimawako, Wanjiru, I don't know the other people that were in the list. Yeah, we were 3 that we have been funded to cause protest. But now the thing is, I think what he meant to say was maybe they are mobilized they are funded to mobilize people to register for voting. Now, City, I have to ask you, and Paul, I have to ask you, what is wrong with being funded to mobilize people to go register for voting?
Okay.
Now, what is wrong with being funded to tell people that go register for voting because it's also your civic duty and your constitutional responsibility. And the only thing that we're telling you is please make sure that you elect a good leader.
Okay.
So the only way I could tackle, I acknowledge it. Say, yes, we are funded.
Okay.
And we are heavily funded to mobilize people to register for voting. And I feel like I'm underpaid, by the way. So I need to be paid more. Because if
are you being facetious or are you actually being real? Are you being funded?
I'm being funded by Kenyans. I'm being funded by the corruption that is happening in the government. I'm being funded by the Kenyans who were the lives that we lost in 2024.
Okay.
So we are being funded because that's what the government bloggers want.
Okay.
You know, for the whole week walikuwa wamekosa something to come at me with. So the whole week the conversation was quiet. Now this week tunalipwa. I actually followed that lady, followed back, nikamwambia okay, we are funded, so do what you are going to do.
So this was you just being sarcastic. Okay.
So we are funded na tunaenda kufanya, we are going to force to make Kenyans register for voting.
I actually like what you've said, that you're funded by the blood of the people that have lost their lives, and you're funded by the Kenyans who actually want change. Now that's a very good answer.
And the corruption that is happening.
Yes, that is the motivation, but this work that you do does require money. Where does the money come from?
Now, City, let me tell you one thing. I don't know if you're going to believe me or not. You see the poster that is coming, the poster that we are using for Tukokadi that people are now printing on their shirts, on their hoodies and everything else. That poster costed me 1,000 to make. And that is the money that I've spent since this thing started. Aside from the transport.
Your money or someone gave you?
No, my money. I can show you the M-Pesa transaction.
Yeah, ni bundles zako ndio zinafanya kazi.
Ni bundles and wifi yangu ya nyumba, honestly. And that is where Mimi, I'm not spending a dime. You know, yesterday, there's a group of even young people who came to me, Kibera, because I told you, Kibera, you have to spend money. Kambia, bro, mi sina pesa.
Yeah.
And at a transport yangu from, let me say, Kibera to Kasarani, was catered for by the person mwenye alikuwa hapo. Tukua Kasarani, there was need for food and water. Somebody who came to register for voting, alienda katubaya maji ya 5,000 tukakunywa zikabaki hapo.
Somebody who came to register
for voting.
Did you know this person?
Yeah, we know him. He's just a regular guy. But it doesn't matter. Alikuja na karegister na
yani ni Mkenya amevolunteer amesema jamani kunyweni maji.
Salienda kabai maji, right? Now there was need for foodstuffs and snacks. People raised money hapo, wakaenda wakanunua food. So why do I need the money? Honestly.
Actually, the point you make is a valid one. Why? We have seen times when there's been a call for Kenyans to contribute to Kenyans who are faced with starvation, possible death. Kenyans contributing is not new.
Yeah.
I myself have witnessed a situation where there was a young girl who could not go to Form 1. The mother used to listen to the radio station that I worked in, and they called. You know, you say, like you keep saying, call us on this number, blah, blah, 07. They called and said, we have this problem. So we discussed it. They were invited. The girl and the mother. So they spoke. And immediately, tupatie number. But it was the last hour of the show. By the time we ended, fees had been paid for the whole year. They had, and we gave the number, and we gave them an update. Even when the child went to school, we took pictures. We made sure that people got an update. Somebody else called and said, I want to pay fees for the next year. So I believe you. That's why I'm telling that story.
If someone offered,
I believe you.
If someone offered to fund you to help you do your activities, whether it's bus fare, whether it's bundles, whether it's that pay for that Wi-Fi, is it something that you would accept?
You know, for example, the reason I'm telling you, but then before I answer that, City, you know what's funny is, but hata mimi, I was not sure this thing was going to happen. Now, City, let me show you. I want you to read it out so that you know, hata mimi nimechanganyikiwa why this thing is happening.
Okay.
Hata nimekumbuka you have, it's not a tweet, but it was the first tweet that led to people coming. I just want you to read it. Because hata mimi, sikuwa najua, was, who do I send it to? So, now, this was it. That set everything off.
Ademba Allans, in X.
Yeah.
I'm looking for 100K Kasarani constituency non-registered voters to jipeleke ku register. I am a registered voter, but I want to help others. Help me repost, requote, share, ifikie wengi. I don't think this will work. I'm just trying.
So, I don't think this will work. I'm just trying.
Yeah.
That was the whole concept. Mimi hata sikuwa najua ita work.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I say, help me repost, quote, share, like ifikie wengi. The same people who shared, who reposted, who quoted the same people, wanakuja na all these narratives. They are the exact same people.
Allow me just to introduce you to a concept.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 21st century and welcome to the world of Kenyan politics. You have entered it. You will hear things about yourself that you've never heard before. Things will be said about you that are completely untrue.
Others ludicrous.
Believe me, that is the sign that what is happening is impactful. Otherwise, nobody would comment on it. Nobody would bother to talk about it.
Yeah.
But honestly, why are people against people registering for
Oh,
voting?
no. They're not against. That's the job that's their job description. There are people, when you hear of a government blogger, what do you think their job is?
To discredit whatever.
Please, anything that they think. Because registered voters, if you're in a political party, these legacy political parties, is good for you. Now it's a question of you getting them to understand why your candidature is beneficial. The space has been opened to more people, and there are more people to convince. But remember, when people are working to ensure that they continue being relevant, they are not necessarily logical. Neither do they focus on the truth. No. The idea is to show, I have reacted the way we ought to react. There is, in this country, we've always had a group of people who, when they feel they're doing something that is pro-government, they oppose anything that seems to point at something the government isn't doing. Instead of looking at it as something the government need to take notice of and change, then they see it as opposition or criticism. Where does it say that the government can't make mistakes?
Yeah.
Where does it, because it's people making decisions, where does it say that they can't be corrected? The sovereign in this country, according to our constitution, is a citizen. It's not complicated. So when the sovereign calls his servant, because these people we elect are our workers, we tell you, Ikazi, the one I give you, you're not doing it the way we want you to do it. But that's what we're doing. We gave you this job, it's your job to do it, but you're not doing it well. You are going to be insulted. You are going to be caricatured.
Perhaps even blackmailed.
You will receive even death threats at some point. Do not worry.
Now, Paul, before I answer you,
yes,
I want to pick from where City left on the politicians. He started by saying that I've grown, and now I understand Kibra Vizuri because that's where I've grown.
Yes.
Now, let me tell you, I think one thing that is making the government have to deploy all these government bloggers. You see, right now we are making people to go register for voting.
Yes.
As them leading themselves to go register for voting. Nobody is influencing them.
And nobody's paying them to go and
Yeah.
register. They are taking themselves to register.
Now, what has been happening in Kenya is, if I'm vying for Kibra, I'm going to mobilize people register for voting so that they can vote me in. So if more of self-interest, the people that I'm going to make mobilize to go register for voting, they're going to vote me in. You see? So wanangojanga hiyo kata election, now hapo ndio the voter importation inaweza kufanyika. So if I stay in Lansaba constituency, in Lansaba ward, and I want more voters that will vote me, I can go to the next ward, import those voters, make them transfer their vote to that area, or make them register as a voter where you place. That is what has been happening. But now we are demystifying this by making people to actually register for voting the right leader, for voting in the right places, for voting for the right reasons, not for voting because they have been bribed.
Alan, the work that you are doing now is the work of very many other people just 2 weeks ago, not last year. They were paid to mobilize. Yes, they were paid to get people to register, and there's always lazima wajatu wapatie kitu. You are interfering with business.
Our party do.
You've moved someone's cheese.
Yes, you are interfering with business. Because mobilization is a business in this country. I am told people even ask, is there something specific you want them to wear?
Exactly.
Yeah, I was just being facetious. Okay, so let me continue being facetious. So, is there something you want them to say? Is there something you want them to chant? Is there someone in particular they want? And you're given specs and you say this will cost this. So, then you look for people who specialists now, and then you have your crowd.
Yeah.
And you even ask, what size do you want? Yes.
How many people do you have?
Yes, exactly. So, the moment people are volunteering to register on their own, you're interfering with the multinational.
The question that I asked before, because we are literally running out of time. If someone offered to fund you, is that something that you're open to?
Now, the problem with funding is, many a times you don't know the intent of the funding.
Okay.
If you're going to fund me, I might take it for the right cause. Maybe we're going to hidden agendas. But we have to say this. I've been looking to go mobilize people in Mombasa to go register for voting.
Yes.
But what happened yesterday, I don't need to be in Mombasa to mobilize people to go register for voting.
Yes, no you don't.
I don't need to be in Mombasa. Unless the people of Mombasa feel like I need to be there, they have to ask me to pay a number to contribute. I see that Onyanga metoa 10 bob, another metoa 11 bob, so that it doesn't come from, let me say, Abdul Swamad, ameniita kuja.
Mombasa, ukuja register watu.
Now that's, specifically say that,
Ujamaa kumbe anakuanga wa ODM.
Now, there's this guy that this guy that is just a young person from X. Amejaribu to mobilize people on what is it? Hata sijui ni wapi ameni-invite, but I'm going.
Yes.
I think he said Nyeri or Embu. So I'm to invite tukuje huko tukama.
How many are you? Mkisema mkuje mko.
Yeah, so the people who have joined me so far ni watu kama 10 who have active joined, like the guy mwenye help in mobilizing Embakasi. There are like 3 to 4 ladies wenye wameingilia. The lady that there's a lady called Sophie Njaya from Thika. She actively helped mobilize what happened in Thika. So like I was telling you, the regional coordinators are watu. So there are people just want to work with you. Now tulikuwa naambia, honestly, kutoka hapa Mombasa will cost a bigger pesa mingi. So we need to have this money. Akambia, okay, like the person tunaenda kusaidia Embu is a lawyer. Is a young lawyer.
Yes.
So akona lawyer friends. And they called, wakasema, ni sawa, tunaweza wasaidia, but maybe to transport or maybe for one day malipakulala then murudi. So why won't I? That means I'm not taking money. I'm just going to help people.
Actually,
You're being facilitated.
Actually, don't make an excuse for receiving help. Huh? The only thing such things is you need to be transparent about it.
Yeah.
See, that you're talking about it. Once you're transparent and you've spoken about it, it is out in the open. This is what has been offered. You don't have to say who has offered it, and this is the amount, and this is what we're going to do with it. You've done your bit.
And we're also supposed to go to Embu to support now. The people who are coming out who are asking for our help are mostly from Twitter. There's a guy called Billy Mwangi. The guy has done a very good mobilization. Yesterday they had numbers, now they are looking for more people. So if we find somebody to facilitate that, we are going to take it and go
by all means take it, but I'll tell you this, there are people in that Embu who will think they're supporting the government by resisting you. the stage you have entered, it is not that the government will have told them.
Hata watajichukulia wenyewe.
Kuna watu wanadhani.
Yes.
Serikali ni yetu.
Yes. Or it's an opportunity waonyesha kwamba wao wanajua kuzuia watu ambao wanajaribu kuharibu serikali. That's the narrative. So
kuregister kuvote unaharibu serikali aje?
Do you have any idea what people will do? Yes, to get the attention of those they think are in power.
But let me ask you this. If someone like the president himself, Ruto, aseme, hii vijana ya tukokadi wanafanya kazi poa, and nataka niwapatie milioni 1 wazunguke Kenya, mtachukua hiyo pesa?
I have to say this up aloud on camera and on microphone.
Right.
That one person that I cannot take money from is President William Samoei Ruto.
Why?
And Rigathi Gachagua. I have to be very specific of those people.
Okay. Why?
Rigathi Gachagua and William Samoei Ruto.
This is money to facilitate. It is not political. It's okay. They're not asking you to support them. Yeah. Ruto jasama atishike 1 million ukifika huko sema tuta.
So why are they giving you the money if they don't want you to support them?
They are seeing.
No, let me Paul.
Okay.
2024 there were protests.
Right.
Through Mchanga, Kenyans were able to raise over 30 million for Kenyans themselves. So, right? So what money is the government going to give me that Kenyans can
not government me? Ruto.
Ruto is the government, is the head of the government.
Okay. But haitoi kwa kiti ya serikali, hii ni yake personal, he is a billionaire.
No, that's Ruto akikupea pesa is simply buying you.
Okay.
Gachagua akikupea pesa is simply buying you. That is something that we are not going to take, to be honest. I'm not, if somebody takes it from the team that are now coming up to support me, then tells that this person hata kuapa for the right cause, he was not supposed to be here. So the thing is, mimi with my all heart I hate Ruto and Gachagua, and they're not because of what they have done to Kenya, and mostly at the other old leaders. That's why tunasema complete overhaul. This legacy
politicians. So you don't want money from Kalonzo, you wouldn't take money from Eugene Wamalwa, you wouldn't take money from Matiang'i.
Funny thing, our Ruto Metaja, they're in the same group or united opposition.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question? Yeah. Would you take money from Jimmy Wanjigi?
Jimmy Wanjigi has not reached out. I feel like he's doing a good cause. But I honestly don't think I would take money from him.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would take money from Maraga, and I would take money from Okiomtata.
Okay.
Good.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? We're out of time. But I'll do this. My brother Alans. Alans. It's si vibaya kutaka usaidizi na kupewa usaidizi. Do you have an M-Pesa till number, pay bill number, or even your M-Pesa number that, you know what, if Mung'ala movie wants to give you 10 bob?
I will definitely give my number. My number is out. Even the other day, somebody posted it on X.
Is it registered on M-Pesa?
Yeah, it's registered on M-Pesa.
Yeah, number, my friend.
Imagine, before I give the number,
yes.
The other day, it was around Satano.
Right.
So, nashanga, mbona watu wengi wanani text WhatsApp, so they thought I was being abducted or somebody was setting me up. Then napata they've posted my number on X. So yeah, but then nilipata around 6,000 before I told the person to take the tweet down.
Okay.
Nilikuwa na fear for security, but right now kwenye imefika, I believe that government can get you anywhere. So this is my number. 0743990726. The name is Ademba Alans. Hiyo ni M-Pesa pekee na WhatsApp. If you call, I won't pick.
Yeah. Hiyo ni specifically ya M-Pesa na WhatsApp. All right,
so
Alans. Yeah.
That's my number, 0743990726.
Yeah.
And I have to say this, please, if you feel like you have a hidden agenda in joining our cause, just stay away. Because again, you are going to ruin something that is good for the entire country. People just want to register for voting. Kuna wenye they come to the line just to register, they leave. Ukikuja hapo na siasa and everything, you are ruining this, and it's speaking a statement
yes.
to other Kenyans.
Alans, you've done a lot for this country, more than even people who've lived longer than you have done. You know, just even appearing on that documentary on BBC, what you're currently now doing, you know, registering Kenyans, that, let me not lie to you, hata ukisimamia hapo leo, you have achieved so much more. So we wish you all the best, and God bless you.
Tell them to join me in Juja today.
Yes.
We are
Juja
going to
Juja
tutakuwa Juja IBC offices. Ziko hapo kwa the DCC offices za Juja.
All right.
Yeah.
Like I said, all the best and God bless.
Thank you.
This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. The Kenya Meteorological Department says Kenyans should expect mixed weather this week with both rainfall and hot conditions in different parts of the country. The department says showers will continue in several regions, but the amount of rainfall is expected to reduce as the week moves towards March 30th, 2026. This could bring some relief to areas that have recently experienced heavy rains. Politicians in the country have been asked to tone down political rhetoric to help maintain peace ahead of next year's elections. IBC Commissioner Alutalala Mukhwana says peaceful campaigns and respectful engagement among political opponents are key to ensuring free, fair and credible elections. He warned that heightened political tensions could lead to a high-pressure electoral environment.
And our politicians owe it to IBC and to the nation to ensure that the duration leading to the elections and even after the general elections is one where the political rhetoric is toned down, is one where their interactions with opponents is devoid of animosity and tension, is one which promotes national cohesion. When that is absent, the prospects of an election that will be high octane are very high.
The Vihiga County Senator Godfrey Otsotsi has raised concern over the rising cases of insecurity in the county. Speaking in the Senate of Kenya, Otsotsi said residents are losing lives and property due to escalating insecurity. He has now sought a statement in the Senate calling for urgent action to address the situation and restore security in the area.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the surge in killings, violent robberies, and organized criminal activities has instilled fear among traders, border operators, and households, despite prior intervention, including the 37th Jukwaa la Usalama Forum held in Vihiga County on the 14th September 2025, and consultations between elected leaders and the Ministry of Interior and National Administration. The situation continues to deteriorate.
Russia has launched nearly 1,000 drones at Ukraine within 24 hours in one of the latest daytime attacks since the war began. Officials say 550 drones were fired during the day on Tuesday, after 392 were launched overnight. According to Ukrainian authorities, the attacks killed at least 8 people and damaged a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Lviv. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky condemned the strikes, describing them as an act of absolute depravity. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga.
Sports on Radio Generation.
Good morning, I'm Samuel Otieno. The Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah has announced he'll leave the club at the end of the season. The 33-year-old Egypt international who joined Liverpool from Roma in June 2017 confirmed the news in a video message on his social media accounts. Salah signed a new 2-year contract with Liverpool in April 2025, but will leave on a free transfer after the club said they had reached an agreement over his future. The race to qualify for the HSBC Sevens Championship will be decided in Sao Paulo, Brazil on March 28th and 29th. This follows the Sevens 2-leg held in Montevideo, Uruguay. Kenya's national rugby side Shujaa finished third with 16 points after winning 3 of their 5 matches and losing 2. The women's side Lionesses finished 6th with 10 points. Team captain Sheila Chajira had earlier said the Lionesses are still building and improving as a team. Here's Chajira speaking to Radio Generation.
We started this campaign for a very long time since we played Challenger Series. Now we are here, like one step to the Division 1. So keep believing and we are going to make you proud.
And that's your sports update on Radio Generation. Good morning, I'm Samuel Otieno.
Sports on Radio Generation. The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Radio Generation. Radio Generation assumes no responsibility or liability for the interviewee's views. This is Radio Generation. In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
A very good morning to you. Welcome back. 10 minutes past 8 o'clock. How are you doing? Let me just give a few shout-outs to some folks here. Kuna The Real LC, how are you doing? Kuna Wanjala pia amesema tuning in from Tuju kule Mombasa. Na amesema but like city birthdays to me are just normal days. Hey bwana. Wanjala ametoka hiyo generation yako eh?
I don't know Anjala.
But amesema belated happy birthday to you CT Muga, and CT is right about copper having medicinal value when it comes to arthritis. That's why those copper miners rarely experience arthritis. Is that so? Aya. Machungu Caleb, how are you doing? Umesema wako kadi watavote kweli, watavote watu wa maana. Kwa kweli swali muhimu hilo, na ndio maana tuta invite wa Kenya, these young Kenyans to help us understand where exactly their mindset is, isn't
Paul,
it?
Watu wa maana ni watu wa aina gani? Watu si watu.
But kuna watu wa maana.
Hapana, sio hivyo.
City, kuna watu wa maana. Si mimi ndo nimesema?
Na mimi
si mimi ndo nakushow.
No, unanieleza na nakusikiza, lakini it doesn't mean I agree with you. You see, kitambo mtu apigiwe kura na awe na kiti si cha uongozi ya kuwakilisha wenzake, wanaompigia kura si wameona ni wa maana. So at what point do they stop being watu wa maana?
Right.
No.
Okay.
There are people whose intentions are a constant. There are people who need to be put in check. In the absence of the check and balance, they'll go rogue.
Right. I agree, City. Alando amesema, Mbubi, tell the good lad that every great leap has 3 reactions from the masses. First, there's ridicule, discussion comes after, and lastly, adoption sets in. Alando, again, hapo umeongea kama watu 1000. Victor Lesosiana amesema, even the ones already with voters card should be responsible when voting. We shouldn't focus only on Gen Zs. Again, like I said, we shall invite Alans akuja tuambie the next step. Weka namba ama pay bill wa Kenya watasaidia na transportation to go round the country. Exactly. So thank you Tindis Mung'ala for that one. Right now though, let me introduce our guest, and perhaps City will share with him the methali for the day.
I will.
So that he can tell us his thoughts on it.
Yes.
He's a policy analyst, and he's here to talk about Kenya as an FDI destination, the hits and the misses. We shall be talking about also some infrastructural projects that we have in this country and how they are so far. Talking about Leonard Kafafa. Leonard, welcome to Radio Generation.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes. City, over to you with the proverb.
Yes. You cannot do without water, even if it drowned your child. That's a proverb from the Republic of Paul?
Angola.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that proverb, sir?
What immediately comes to mind is that water is the essence of life. So you cannot do without it. But it is also a terrible master in the sense that you have to use it circumspectly. If you're careless about the way you use that water, it will end up killing you. It will end up killing your family. It will end up killing your child. Case in point is the floods that we've recently had in Nairobi. Water, fantastic. Nobody can do without water. But unharnessed or improperly channeled, water now becomes disastrous and it kills.
Right.
So that's my take.
Yeah. A great analogy. Great analogy.
Thank you.
Asante sana. KQ has registered losses, several billions, and yet a year before that, they had registered profits of billions again. What's not happening in this particular institution of ours known as KQ?
Actually, that loss is not altogether surprising. You have to look at the background of airlines and how they operate. Globally, the aviation industry is a thin margins industry. successful airlines, the ones that are very well run and are well funded, operate on margins of about 3.9%.
Oh,
yes, that's
a very small percentage.
It's a very small percentage. Now, for African airlines, African airlines typically operate on margins of 1% and under 1%. Because of a number of things. Of course, it's expensive to operate an airline out of Africa.
Okay.
Now, anything small, any rocking, left, right, or center affects those margins. Let me put it even in context, in numbers that people can relate to. The profit margin of African airlines, as projected by IATA this year, is about $1.3 per passenger. That's the profit margin per passenger. If you multiply that by about 130, you'll get something in the to the tune of about 170 shillings thereabouts.
Okay.
My math is not so accurate, but per passenger, African airlines are expected to make 170 shillings only. So if you have the challenges that the industry has undergone over the last 5-6 years, anything that comes up now erodes those profit margins, and the airlines then move into losses. I know you're about to ask why other airlines globally.
Yeah, exactly. And I was going to ask, and they still operate within this particular region. So how is it that they are coming to our space and they're dominating it?
Most successful airlines, particularly legacy carriers, are always funded very heavily by their governments. A case in point is Emirates.
Ethiopian Airlines.
Ethiopian Airlines, which receives massive subsidies left, right, and center. In fact, it is said that the Ethiopian government makes provision in their budget. It's funding for Ethiopian Airlines is a line item in the national budget.
The same way we budget for health and education.
Exactly.
It is part of it.
It is part of it. If you look at Emirates, because I know many people would want to compare us with Emirates, post-COVID, when airlines were beginning to recover, they received a grant of about $4 billion. You look at Singapore Airlines, another successful one, they received a grant of $19 billion. Then American Airlines, collectively, despite the fact that they are privately owned, received an industry grant of $56 billion. These are grants. Now, KQ has been recipient of some grants, but in really small quantities.
And several bailouts.
And bailouts. Now, the bailouts are essentially loans that are given by the government as the largest shareholder, and these loans are repayable at interest. So that's the difference. They are not grants, they are loans. Every bailout that KQ receives is a loan, is a shareholder loan. So that's the difference. And that's the challenge that KQ has to surmount, because coming in after post-COVID, that recovery should have been aided by proper funding for KQ to stabilize and to move on with its business.
So basically, from what I'm hearing, we really don't care about this airline of ours.
How do you arrive at that conclusion?
Because if I listen to what you said about the American Airlines, and then Ethiopia Airlines, and then Singapore, hizo zote zinasaidiwa na serikali heavily, as opposed to how we are dealing with ours. If anything, we are giving ours loans.
I think it's a question. It's not so much a question of not caring as affordability, as it is of affordability, because the government has lots of priorities, and what KQ ideally needs right now is a grant or a loan, whatever it is. It needs about $2 billion for it now to stabilize its business, to recapitalize, to clean its balance sheet, to recapitalize, to buy new equipment, and basically to steady its operations. It needs $2 billion. Now, $2 billion is about 260 billion Kenya shillings. And we've had economic downturn. I think in the last month leading to 2022. And we've been struggling actually to avoid debt default as a country. So a priority right now has been in stabilizing the economy rather than aspects of the economy like the airline, which are very important. But I think priority is towards national stabilization first.
So basically, for us to help KQ get back on its feet, we need a whole Eurobond.
We need the equivalent of a whole Eurobond, or a facility someplace. But
Leonard, the issues around KQ go beyond the huge impact of COVID, the government bailing it, that KQ has shares being traded in the stock exchange. Because when KQ was government, the problems we are seeing now were imminent. And somebody sought to now bring in what you call the private angle to understanding and running KQ. And a consultancy firm was brought in. The net result of what they did was the KQ turnaround was almost magical in this sense. At that point in time, KQ was making money and thriving when even airlines in Europe were collapsing. And it continued so for some time. KQ, when it was called the Pride of Africa, it was with good reason. KQ was an airline of choice in many, many, many ways. And then issues started coming in. It had nothing to do with any war. COVID hadn't come in. It had more to do with the management and the administration and the way in which KQ was managed. And if you look closely, you'll find our politics and the way we practice crony capitalism had a very big role in bringing KQ to the problem where it is.
I'll agree with you in part, but disagree largely. You've talked about KQ having thrived at some point. I think that was prior to 2012. It is true. KQ really did well. I think that's a time when privatization had taken place, and government's role had been limited, and we had brought in expertise from all over the world to restructure and to run KQ, and it did it, and it was done successfully. Then we brought in. Then there was a gentleman called Titus Naikuni, who people, in my view, unfairly blame for some of KQ's woes. Titus Naikuni had a brilliant idea to grow KQ, because in aviation business, when you have small, you don't enjoy the economies of scale that would normally accrue to large airlines, in terms of fleet costs. Because when you have a big airline, the per unit costs go down. You procure spares.
When it's large, you enjoy the benefits of economies of scale.
When it's large, you enjoy the benefits. So Titus Naikuni decided to expand, rightfully so, to grow Kenya Airways, to expand it. And he got into that project called Project Mawingu. But there were a few things that militated against him. One was the delay, I think, to get requisite approvals from the government in order to, rather guarantees from the government in order to acquire the Dreamliner fleet. So those delays cost us about 3 years into the program. And that KQ took a hit on account of that. There are details. I mean, I know we won't have the time to go into them at the moment, but that was one of the reasons. But the other reasons were actually forces beyond KQ's control. You remember at around that time we had the Westgate terror attack, and that did created advisories from Europe, against coming into Africa. And Europe was one of KQ's, still is one of KQ's big markets. Because at the time we were flying to Italy, we were doing France, I think we had even ventured into Germany, even more strong, of course, the traditional UK route, Amsterdam, of course. So a lot of advisories came from those destinations, and they decimated a part of KQ's market share. Then, shortly after that, of course, there was Ebola in West Africa. And a lot of the African travel, a lot of KQ's African travel was predicated on West Africa. Because West Africans would use KQ into Nairobi. Nairobi would be the hub for them now to connect to other destinations. So West Africa was closed off for a significant period of time, I think over half a year. And that again ate into KQ's margins. Then, of course, you had other things like the fire at Jomo Kenyatta that burnt down and kind of stymied KQ's plans to extend into North Africa. The acquisition of some of this fleet, part of this fleet was for expansion into North America, was for expansion into North America. So with the burning down of that terminal, it affected those plans. So there were a number of things. Then, of course, there were other aspects where KQ got it wrong. The fuel hedging policy, which KQ got the hedging instruments wrong of the flights in terms of rationalization of both personnel and equipment and routes.
Okay.
So there's been efficiency to that end, but the problem is capitalization. That is the biggest elephant in the room. They still need capital, because with whatever operational excellence you have, whatever efficiency you have,
without funds,
there's nothing. You'll always be in a hole, and you'll always be struggling in one aspect or the other. That is the biggest problem that KQ has at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
SGR. We are now constructing this towards Malaba, I think it is, yeah?
Yes.
Towards Malaba.
Yes.
It was launched by 2 presidents.
Yes.
We still have debt from this other one to Mombasa.
Yes.
We are sure that this one will be completed for sure. But are we able to make profits from this particular railway line?
Yes, I think it is possible that that entire enterprise called the SGR can be profitable. Anecdotal evidence suggests that the reason why it is not profitable, one of the reasons why currently SGR as it is, running all the way to Naivasha, is not profitable, is because to profitability was predicated on the entire line being complete.
From
all the
Mombasa
all the way to Uganda. Yes.
Okay.
And having done just a portion of it, that has affected the profitability. Now, if we do that, we clear that remaining bit, the extension from Naivasha to Kisumu, then onward to Malaba, and eventually to Kampala.
Now,
it will be profitable.
The Mombasa one, Mombasa to Nairobi, does it make money?
Mombasa to Naivasha?
Yes. Okay, I mean, the current SGR as it is.
The current SGR doesn't make money. It makes net losses every year. Yeah.
So actually, so that is easy every day.
Yeah.
Okay.
and we are paying this thing.
True. There were issues. I think there were issues that have the Treasury now has since learned from the mistakes that were made in the past, and it is approaching this more circumspectly. One of the issues was the cost of the funding, the cost of the loan. I think the loan that was procured was expensive compared to
neighbors
in the region. We don't know why it was expensive. It was the last administration.
We know why.
Yeah.
We know why.
But you won't say it.
Yeah. We know why. No, we say it. We know why. It was budgeted corruption.
Yes.
That was it.
Yes. So that's a lesson that has been learned. The other thing is that cost of land acquisition was a big damper on the profitability of the SGR, because there were all these speculators who knew where the truck would run way ahead of time.
Yes.
And they bought pieces of land on the cheap and then waited to sell them expensively to the government. Because here, of course, when a project like that happens, government does what is called compulsory acquisition.
Yes.
And they have to compensate the owners of the tracts of land that the SGR, that they're acquiring, and at market value. So a lot of that was inflated. I don't think it was really quote-unquote market value.
Leonard, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
I want you to explain this because this has puzzled me. When you have a railway line, just like when you have a road we call it road reserve. Really you call it a way leaf.
Yes.
120 meters.
Yeah.
On the other side. 120 meters is what fraction of a kilometer?
120?
20 meters.
Is about 1.2. It's 10%.
10% of a kilometer.
That's right.
10% of a kilometer is not small, is it?
It's not.
On either side.
Yeah.
I've often wondered, why didn't the SGR just follow that route that the old rail had followed? I mean, I've been to countries where they have this train that, the bullet train, and the chuk-chuk is next, not really, you can actually see one when you're in one.
You can pass it at 320 kilometers
yes,
per hour.
you can actually see, it's not that it's far. Why did we feel this need to do what we did?
Let me hazard a guess, an educated guess though. The meter gauge railway, that is the old one, was built at some point, I think, about over 100 years ago.
Clearly.
Yes, over 100 years ago.
It was completed in 1906.
And the engineering then was a bit different, and the way they would build over hills, go through tunnels or something like that. I mean, hills, ridges and everything. The engineering was different, and it followed the contours of the country. Where there was a hill, it climbed up. Where there was a a valley, it sort of went down into the valley, then chugged its way.
No. It actually built bridges. Yes. If you look at places, indeed, as you say correctly, where there's a valley, you follow the old railway route.
Yes.
I went to school with the railway for a long time.
That's right.
So I saw these things.
That's right.
They put up bridges.
Right.
And as you correctly put it, it was the engineering of the time.
Yes.
And that engineering is still there, by the way. It's not as though it has gone anywhere.
True.
Yes.
True. But fast forward to present day, you have the SGR, and one of the advantages of the SGR is speed. Speed presupposes that you are on an even gradient, more or less even gradient, all the way from direct the truck to places where the gradient is more or less even.
I am in full agreement.
Yes.
The only thing is, it isn't as though the entirety of the 1 meter gauge was hilly. No. Most of the terrain was, as you said, tambarare. It was
flat.
So, again, I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
That land still exists. The answer is no, it doesn't. Does the ruler still own that land? I wonder. See, my point being, why were we seeking to compensate people for land? Some compensation would have been necessary at some point. When the people who planned that railway had given room for expansion. Why do you think you have a road reserve? It's the understanding that you may need to expand this road. Infrastructure may need to be brought in. But the Kenyan understanding of it is free land for people to steal. You see, this is where the problem arises. It's not land for you to do it as you see fit.
Yeah.
It was meant for this specific purpose. 120 meters on both sides of the railway. Look, let's look at Mombasa. The only time you encounter anything hilly is in two places. Around the Taita Taveta area, and even then it's really not that hilly, and as you approach Ukambani. And even then, only small portion of it. Where now you could say is now when you start going into the Rift Valley from Central, there are many hilly places. But thereafter, a lot of that terrain is not hilly at all. I mean, I'm simply saying, it puzzles me why everything about the SGR was the way it was when there was an alternative that could have been there and which had been taken into consideration when that old railway was built. Anyway, that was just the speculative part. But please, let's talk about the present.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, so it wasn't profitable. Will it now be profitable once we have this track to Malaba and perhaps even into Kampala?
Yes, I think it's going to be profitable. John Buddy at Treasury has done quite a lot to ensure that at least it is viable or at least profitable. One of the things he has done is to be very circumspect about his source of funding for the SGR. Unlike the previous administration that went on and took expensive debt for the SGR, John Buddy has actually taken a portion of the railway development levy, I think, which is usually 2.5% of your fuel bill.
Yes.
Your petrol bill, whatever fuel you use. He's taken a portion of it and securitized it. And I think from that, he's going to get about 30% of the what is needed to fund the SGR.
Yeah.
Then he's also looking for cheaper funding, even from China itself.
Yeah.
Rather than take a Eurobond, which is expensive, he's toyed around with the ideas of floating what they're calling a panda bond, which is in Chinese currency, the yuan, and which is supposedly significantly cheaper than the Eurobond. So those are some of the things that are going to make the cost of putting up that infrastructure cheaper. And then the fact that the trains are now going to run full truck both ways, up and down, carrying cargo. Because as it is right now, SGR comes all the way to Naivasha, the freight train comes all the way to Naivasha, but there's hardly anything that it goes back with to Mombasa. It comes all the way from Naivasha with
dumps
cargo,
things,
dumps things, and then that's it. There's hardly anything up. But you need business both ways, you know. Yeah, you need the business to be directional. Yeah.
Why on earth is that?
That thinking was so lopsided from the get-go. I mean, the question was, first of all, if you remember the argument, that they were moving certain port activities to Nairobi. Now, I'm wondering, then why do you think you have a port?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, the understanding of a dry port, Nairobi had one. There was something similar in a place like Kisumu. But why do you transfer services that ports around the world have to Nairobi, which doesn't have any water body except Nairobi Dam.
That's right.
How? Why? It doesn't matter how negatively you wanted to think. You couldn't get to the nth of this particular thinking because clearly somebody had an idea of how they wanted to make money, and then they stopped all lorries, stopped literally from moving cargo. And then when you did the arithmetic, even if you had a second lane of SGR,
you still couldn't handle it.
No, you're still not going to make money. Even if you stacked it and it worked 24 hours. It doesn't matter how you looked at it.
That is very true. Essentially because of the cost of putting up the infrastructure.
But someone sat down and came up with all these costs, and they even did a study and they said this is how we're going to do this and this is how it's going to make money, and that thing was presented to the government and the government said aha, and I'm assuming very many experts said, you know what, this is an amazing idea.
It is the same logic that was used in the Goldenberg scandal, where a non-gold exporting country like Kenya was actually benefiting from some rebate for exporting gold. We don't, at that point in time, we're not doing any of that business. It was a scam. This was also a scam. It's not, you can't call it anything else.
I think we were also naive because at that time, China, it is said, was pursuing what you call a debt trap policy, where unlike the global north, when you want a facility from the global north, they ask you all manner of questions, including your human rights record and that sort of thing. They make you accountable in every aspect. China then wasn't asking questions. It was giving loans. It was dishing out loans to whoever wanted and whatever amounts they wanted. But the problem was there was a bit of an angle to it from China, in the sense that what they were trying to do was to
trap you in
debt. And they were calling it a debt trap policy. So they would give you debt that was not sustainable, and then they would actually ask you to guarantee it by...
Oh wait, like this is something that they actually decided to do.
It is said it was actually a policy of China to do that debt trap.
It is said. And that's why the Sri Lanka case came in with their port. I am of the view that that was Western propaganda, because if indeed those who receive the money choose the type of loan they want, they choose you, they force you because you benefit from the loan, and then it is expensive and the country is unable to sustain or do that which they ought to do with the loan, or they didn't, and China comes says, guys, in order to get back our money, this is what we need to do. What was being presented then was that they were going to take that port. It is not possible for them to take the port. You see, this discussion about securitization, then Nadia will explain it. When you securitize something, it means you have provided security, and it is something whose veracity and reliability can be seen, so they realize, we can get paid through this. Project financing uses such models and others. It doesn't mean that they're going to take your port.
Not physically.
No, but what your port does and the economic value it has and what it produces is what guarantees the loan, not the port.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
I agree with you, CT. That's, that was the way the debt trap policy was working. Because if you look at a country like Angola, Angola also got into that debt trap, and they took, and what they used, the asset that they used was the Angolan oil. So all the oil that is produced in Angola for a certain number of years going into the future belongs to the Chinese. The proceeds of that oil, when it is sold wherever, goes straight to China.
But Paul, there was a president called Dos Santos.
Yes.
Okay? Yeah. He had a daughter.
Yes.
Whose name appeared in these issues and these
I
matters.
Actually
you remember that story?
Yes.
That money which they borrowed, there are those who argue strongly that it didn't go to what it was purposed for.
Exactly.
Because every time they borrowed, this lady got richer and richer.
And this being Africa, I believe those who are saying that.
Yes. Right. Now, when the gentleman who then became president, who had been a mentee of Dos Santos, he decided to reverse very many of these things.
Correct. Okay.
And that's where now that story of odious debt
comes in.
Yes.
That's right.
All right.
Not but it has worked well in the sense that one, I mean, the hue and cry all over the world about this debt trap policy has forced China to revise its funding model. So they're no longer dishing out money willy-nilly the way they were doing before. They are now being very particular about the way they engage with the governments, especially African governments, about how they give them loans. And that's one of the reasons why the SGR never moved beyond Naivasha. Yeah, because when we went for funding on those terms, on those previous terms, so things have changed.
How things change, eh?
Yeah.
Oh yes, oh yes.
In a decade, yani mnaamuka mna realize.
But there's something I think we need to look into. Yes. Okay, when we say a railway is profitable, and this particular railway to Kisumu, Malaba, Uganda, Kampala, Jinja is being said, what is it that will make it profitable? Stability. What are they?
Again, I will draw back, I will circle back and refer to the Kenya Airways conversation. Sometimes, national assets should not be looked at merely from the point of the balance sheet. They should be looked at for their strategic value. For example, Kenya Airways. We look at the losses that it keeps making year in, year out. Yeah. But we forget that it is a strategic national asset.
Yes.
Without tourism and you affect investment, it is said that of traffic coming into the country, that's a lot of money that you lose. So you look at the other industry that freight is carried in the bellies of Kenya Airways aircraft, the passenger planes. So you have cut flowers that are carried out every day. You have fresh produce, that is fruit and vegetables, carried to the markets of the EU and Europe. You have chilled meat that goes to the Middle East. You have seafood that comes all the way from Mombasa and is sent abroad, carried in the bellies of Kenya Airways. That's a huge industry. So you collapse the airline, the industry dies. So there are all those attendant industries that revolve around this aviation industry. And that contribute significantly to the GDP of the country. About 6 or 7% of the country's GDP.
Yeah.
Nobody ever looks at that. Look at even employment, for instance. KQ itself employs close to 4,800 people at the moment. Then you look at that is directly.
Yes.
Then you look at the indirect employment.
Yeah.
Another 16,000 people who work around the airport and who work around KQ. Then you look at the entire industry. You find that it has there are about 500,000 people whose living comes from KQ, of the aviation industry as at large.
Right.
So that's a lot. So those are the effects that you look at as a country. You look at that strategic national value, the contribution of the airline, and you say, you know what? Let's support this infrastructure, and notwithstanding the fact that it is making losses, or notwithstanding the fact that the balance sheet doesn't look as good as it ought to be.
Yeah.
And it's the same case now when it comes to the SGR.
Yes.
For the moment, look at the strategic value, look at what it can do, look at the industries that it can open up, look at these special economic zones that can be spawned by the presence of having this critical infrastructure.
Okay.
And then move from there.
You know, Leonard, there's this little matter of cargo, and I'm glad you brought it up. I had veered away from it, but since you brought it up, let me ask the question. If by volume, Nairobi offers the largest cargo hub on the continent, and yet we do not even have one. We don't even have one
cargo plane.
No, we don't. I forget the one we vandalized and made cargo. Broad bellies. The planes that are specifically made to carry cargo.
Actually, we do have cargo planes. We have 4 now. We had 2 737 classics, 15 tonners. Then we added, I think last year and the year before, we added...
These are planes that were specifically manufactured for cargo?
Or we refitted them for cargo?
Or did we refit the narrow-bodied ones?
Okay, you can refit a narrow-bodied plane and make it a proper cargo plane. So the two, I think, that were there, the classics were refitted, but there are two that were gotten last year.
Broad belly.
I think 737, they're still narrow bodies. 737, I think, dash 800s,
okay,
which have more capacity. But let's talk about this cargo. Let's circle back again and talk about this cargo conversation from the onset. Initially, cargo was not much of a priority for Kenya Airways.
Why not?
In past times, because the passenger business was doing extremely well. It was doing very well.
Outside the box.
It was doing very well, and we were carrying, of course, cargo in the bellies of these passengers. But now, especially after COVID, cargo is now a priority for not only Kenya Airways but for all airlines all over the world. Why? Because if you don't have cargo, if you don't have capacity cargo-wise, it's a national security problem. And I'll give you an example. You saw what happened during COVID. The entire global aviation industry shut down.
Yes, it did.
The only planes that were allowed to operate were cargo planes. Yeah. So, and these cargo planes actually pulled their capacity from Kenya and moved on to other destinations because those were their priorities then. So we were left stranded. We could not even get these PPEs that were needed during COVID, this personal protective equipment. We could not get our pharmaceuticals. That is why at that time, Kenya Airways became innovative and repurposed one was needed because people still ate during COVID, and to bring in pharmaceuticals, the PPEs, and whatever else was needed from the outside. So that is when it became having a cargo fleet became an imperative. Before then, we were content to have the 737 classics, the two of them, 15 tonners. But after that, we actively went out now to look for capacity in terms of cargo planes. So we've bought in the 737 800s, which have a longer range. They can actually fly out of the continent. The other smaller planes could not leave the continent for technical reasons. These ones now can actually fly out of the continent. Then recently, Kenya Airways has actually gotten a 747 freighter, and it's taken it on in an arrangement called capacity purchasing. So when we need to uplift staff from Nairobi, we buy capacity on that 747, which is a huge plane. It's a wide body, and it can carry, I think, up to 110 tons. So we are growing our capacity gradually. There are plans. I heard it from
a little bit too late, though.
It's not too late. It's never too late. It's never too late. It's right on time. I mean, we've learned. We've seen what is necessary. We've adjusted. We've rolled with the punches. We've made our adjustments. And now we are moving forward.
Road, because our road networks are not just for Kenya. Our road networks fall into categories where they are part of the larger continent of Africa. So,
CT, can I just... I mean, you brought up the Embraer. Would you allow me to comment briefly on
that?
Yeah.
By all means.
But that's why I brought it up, because I wanted you to comment.
Let me comment on the Embraer.
Yes.
The Embraer, the decision to bring the Embraer was not just pulled out of the air. It was actually a very practical, it was actually a decision born of wisdom. I remember I told you that the plan was to expand Kenya Airways to grow the fleet because big fleets enjoy economies of scale. But there were places that, but to grow that fleet, you have to grow it with the profitability in mind, because Kenya Airways still is a commercial concern, commercial enterprise. So you have to grow it with profitability in mind. Growing the fleet meant adding new routes, developing routes. And Embraer was brought in for route development, or route opening, route development. That's what people don't know. Why? Because Embraer, the cost of purchasing an Embraer as opposed to a 737, which would be more or less the equivalent, is significantly cheaper. I'm told the costs of the Embraer would be like about, whether they are finance costs or leasing costs, I'm not so sure, but they will be about $250,000 per month. Whereas the 737 is about $400,000 a month. So a whole delta of about $150,000 every month. That is significant when it comes to the balance sheet. And the problem with the 737 in terms of suitability for route opening was that it was too large. Because you have a route, say, like Central Africa that you want to open. And you announce and you put your flights there. You put the 737, which is a 160-seater plane. Because the route is still being developed, it's new, you get thin traffic. You get about, say, 40 or 50 people each time you fly. It means each time you deploy that plane, you're making a net loss. Because of capacity, you have excess capacity. But you bring in the Embraer. In fact, they had the older Embraers, I think the 160s or something like that. They had the older ones, which were like 60-seater planes.
They were.
So you put those old planes, old Embraers on these new thin routes or routes that you're developing. Even if you get like 40 passengers,
you're okay.
Both ways, you're okay. You've broken even. And the assumption is because you're not filled to capacity, you have space in the belly for those 40 passengers, not 60. Then when you demand grows, when the route develops, you pull out the Embraer, now you bring in the 737. Then as it develops further, now you pull out the 737 and now you deploy the 787, the wide body. So that was the rationale. So the Embraers were for route development and for opening routes and for developing thin routes. They were not supposed to have been the mainstay in a lot of these routes that they traveled on. But the problem, as I said, was delays in getting approvals.
Government approvals for the bigger fleet, for more 737s and for more 787s. It is said that at the time, there was mischief because there were people within government who were talking to a competitor, and the competitor was telling them, look, give us this business as opposed to giving Boeing. But the decision had been made by the management of KQ at that time to have to go with Boeing for good reason. So that conflict, that push and pull delayed us. In fact, Kenya was supposed to have been the launch pad for the 787, that's a Dreamliner, on the continent. But because of that push and pull, we lost out to Ethiopia. Ethiopia took our slots and we suffered that delay. So that has been the problem of the Embraer. That's why at some point now when there are no planes coming in, no wide bodies coming in, the only recourse now was to use the Embraers, and it was disastrous. It was disastrous.
We have about 5 minutes, and we haven't even touched on the foreign direct investments. So let me ask this.
Yes.
Currently, as of 2023, we were at 1.5 billion in terms of the valuation of that business.
Yes.
Now they are talking about multiplying it by 6.25 times to 10 billion.
Yes.
Is it achievable by 2027 really?
By 2027, realistically, no. But as they say, you shoot for the sun, and if you land on the moon,
it's okay.
It's okay.
But the moon is much closer than we think. That we would have wanted to go.
Yeah, still it's something. Still it's movement, because FDI, as you know, is really important for a nascent economy like ours. Is the one way we develop. But when you know the definition of FDI, FDI, foreign direct investment,
yes,
has two main components that you look at. One is that it is a cross-border, and two, it's an investment. So you look at it as an investment that is cross-border, that is crossing borders, say out of Kenya, coming into Kenya, and basically for the benefit of Kenyans and for the benefit of the people who are investing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So currently we're seeing the government trying to put up all these special economic zones,
yes,
and specific investor policies.
That's right.
How long, according to you, for us to get to that 10 billion realistically, how long would it take?
I think this may spill over into the next administration between 2027, contingent on stability prevailing in the country, because FDI thrives where there is stability.
We're talking about political stability.
Political stability.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that has held us back significantly is the unrest that we saw in 2023, Mandamano, 2024 and 2025. if we can contain that unrest, then it will be good for this country. And in my view, there is hardly any reason for that unrest, because where the electoral disputes, we have a trusted judiciary, which again is one of the factors that people look at when they are considering FDI. An independent judiciary that can be relied on to resolve business disputes. We have regular elections. Again, that's a factor that is considered when you're thinking about FDI. We have regular elections. So you're not going to have a strongman come in and say, oh, I've nationalized all foreign investment in the country.
Yes.
It belongs to the country. You are not going to have a strongman.
Yeah.
You have the rule of law.
Or like they did in Burkina Faso.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you can be sure that there is little in terms of FDI going into Burkina Faso.
Yes.
Because I can't trust that if I am an investor going into Burkina Faso, I can't trust that it will not be nationalized by the government.
The moment you establish it.
We have 1 minute.
Yeah.
You wrote an article. It would have been wrong for Ruto not to have been involved in the Nairobi hospital saga. What was the thinking behind it? The article I have read, but what was the thinking behind it?
I think I gave 3 reasons why Ruto had to come in. Because there's been hue and cry about him getting involved in Nairobi Hospital, which is a private entity, as opposed to now cracking the whip on hospitals like Kenyatta. But I've said he was asked first and foremost by a section of practitioners at the hospital.
Board actually.
Yes. These are senior fellows, you know. I mean, when you're talking of Dr. Silverstein, that's a guy who has practiced for more than half the lifetimes of some of us. He's been in practice for over 42 years in Nairobi Hospital. Actually, that's more than half the lifetime of a lot of us. When you're talking of people like Dr. Muhudia, those are eminent practitioners.
Professor Muhudia.
Professor Muhudia.
Yes.
These are people who've been there forever. So when they have seen Nairobi Hospital at its best, they know its capability. They know where it can be, and they see what is happening. And they are just justifiably alarmed. So they reach out to the patron and ask him to take charge, to at least put things in motion. But now, in the article, I talked about the importance of Nairobi Hospital. It's not just any other hospital. It's the premier hospital in the country. A lot of patients are referred from overseas to Nairobi Hospital. Yeah, we have medical tourism that is now a budding thing in Kenya, just the way people go to India, just the way people go to Turkey, just the way people go to Germany for medical issues. A lot of those things are being done in local hospitals. Nairobi Hospital is one of them. So in terms of the economy, it's an asset to have that should be protected. You look at it again from the diplomatic level, because the UN considers it one of their designate hospitals. When there are evacuations in the region, medical emergencies within the region or within parts of the continent, the first port of call is usually Nairobi Hospital.
Okay.
They even put up a 150 bed facility. I think around that COVID time.
Yes, it is directly opposite the hospital.
It's directly opposite the hospital. That's again foreign direct investment. I mean, if you look at it that way. Yeah. So so it's a facility that should be protected.
Yes.
From governance issues on account of its importance to the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Leonard, we have come to the end of the show, man, and we were just getting started on this FDA thing.
Yes.
Perhaps this is an opportunity to get back, because we need to talk about exactly where we expect to get these investments from. We talk about the special economic zones. We talk about the direct investor policies. I'm interested in that because I want to see Kenya beyond 2027 and how we're going to achieve it, regardless of who's going to be the president of this country.
Correct.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Karibu.
Yeah.
We're taking a short break, folks. Don't go too far. When we do return in the next hour, like I told you, we're going to be talking about the bodies that were found in Kericho. What really is happening in Kericho?
This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. Former Cabinet Secretary Raphael Tuju has been granted anticipatory bond of 200,000 Kenya shillings by the High Court of Kenya following his arrest. Justice Martin Muya issued the orders after Tuju and his co-applicant Louisa Koros, through lawyer Greg Ndege, filed an urgent application seeking to stop his arrest and detention by police. The judge directed that the two release on anticipatory bond, and the case will be mentioned again on April 7th, 2026 for further directions.
And especially when it comes to the request to grant personal bond. Because that person, by conduct, and the state has not controverted that issue, he took himself. That is the only major consideration that this court ought to make. So that if my colleague is talking about the issue of bail, in the absence of even the accused person, Your Honor, you have the power and the right to consider that. And they have not told you even one issue that will say that they will even be opposing bond.
Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission Commissioner Aluta Lala Mukhwana says the commission has registered 250,391 new voters so far. Speaking on Citizen TV on Tuesday, he said most of the new registrations are in urban and pre-urban areas, with Nairobi leading, followed by Kiambu, Machakos, Nakuru and Mombasa counties. However, registration in arid counties such as Isiolo, Mandera and Tana River counties remain very low.
Regrettably, the arid areas continue to perform dismally. The Isiolo, for example, Mandera, Tana River are almost stagnant, and that is principally because of the lower population density. That's a factor, but also because of their migration patterns. Remember, the region has been plagued by very, very harsh climatic conditions. There was a drought, and most of the communities moved, some even out of the country to their neighboring countries looking for food and pasture.
The Senate of Kenya Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration has praised the Social Health Authority for maintaining ethnic diversity in its workforce. The committee, chaired by Marsabit Senator Mohamed Chute, reviewed a report presented by SHA Chief Executive Officer Mercy Mwangangi during a session at the Bunge Towers on March 24, 2026. The report detailed the ethnic composition of staff and addressed claims that recent recruitment had favored one community. The Kenya Forest Service has launched a new digital system to help fight illegal timber trade. The system, known as Timber Tracker System, will help monitor timber from the point of harvest to the point of sale. Chief Conservator of Forest Alex Lemarkoko says this system will strengthen oversight in the sector and reduce reliance on manual processes. Ugandan opposition leader Bobi Wine says he plans to return to Uganda after resurfacing in Washington, D.C., following nearly 2 months in hiding. In an interview with France 24, Wine said he is still under threat and has called for international sanctions against President Yoweri Museveni and his son Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Wine fled Uganda in January after disputed presidential election that gave Museveni a 7th term.
I am still under threat. I am aware that I'm being followed. And, in Uganda, history shows that many dissidents have left the country and have been followed and hurt, harmed, or even killed from very far away from home. I am still under threat. However, at least I know that I can communicate in the tentative. I can be able to speak to the world. I intend to go back to my country. My fight is in Uganda. My work is in Uganda. And my citizenship is in Uganda. I'm a Ugandan.
And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning. I'm Winnie Maganga.
In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Here's radio generation's The People's Breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
Good morning and welcome back. A big shout out to LCB there. Ameandika message I can delete. Dennis Mbuya says, hello Radio Generation. I request our host at your station to speak about youth politics. Dennis Mbuya, good morning. Ndungu 247. Ndungu 247 amesema hivi. This is KQ is one institution that has many stories. Every year they give us tales of what needs to be done, and they never talk about the excessive upper management salaries that need to be reviewed. KQ has been on the red for years. Nini nani nyonga?
Take a sip.
KQ has been on the red for years. Kwani there's no one who understands that airlines, or is this loss making intentional? Good question. Do you think, City, it is intentional?
Loss making. Actually, some of the moves that have been made that have ended up in loss making, were not necessarily purposed for loss making. Not really. Somebody thought that they were making a decision that would end up bringing about some element of profitability. But the implementation of that particular line of thinking, unfortunately, turned out to brought about the complete opposite of what it is that somebody may have anticipated.
BPM 254 mesema Leonard Kafafa is the wahenga we have been told about in school. BPM, karibu sana. Now, like I said in this particular hour, we want to talk about hii story ya watu kupatikana. 33 bodies is not a small.
32.
Well, the paper says 33.
Sasa unaona tofauti. Nation inasema 32.
Mimi wacha nisome kinye gazeti ya Standard imesema. Shock had questions after 33 bodies exhumed from mass grave. Government pathologist says 8 of the bodies were adults and 25 were children. Leaders and rights groups have called for answers on how the bodies were secretly buried. 33 bodies were yesterday exhumed from a mass grave at the Makaburini Cemetery in Kericho County in a chilling incident that has raised questions on the circumstances under which they were buried. These were 19 more bodies than had earlier been declared. Remember the day before they had said 12 bodies, I think it was?
They were saying 12, 13.
Then 14.
Really sure, yes.
These were 19 more bodies than had earlier been declared. Now, the bodies recovered in a painstaking exercise that lasted more than 6 hours have raised serious concerns among investigators, human rights groups, and local residents. According to government pathologist Dr. Richard Njoroge, 8 of the bodies were adults, while 25 were children, including neonates and fetuses. Addressing the media at the scene, Dr. Njoroge described the findings as highly unusual, revealing that the bodies had been packed in gunny bags. Gunny bag ni gani?
Gunia.
Okay. We also recovered 6 dismembered body parts, 4 legs and 2 hands, which we are going to analyze, he said. He noted that most of the bodies were in advanced stages of decomposition, suggesting that they may have been buried for some time, while the remains of newborns were moderately decomposed. Investigators are now expected to determine if the body parts belong to one individual or if they were additional victims. Njoroge said post-mortem examinations would be conducted to determine the cause of death and establish the identities of the deceased. Now, tukisikia that hospitali ilikuwa ni Nyamira?
Yes, it was Nyamira Hospital.
Ilikuwa imesema they had dispatched some 13 bodies for burial.
And we asked the question, why didn't they bury the bodies in Nyamira?
What I would like to understand is, what is the procedure of a hospital disposing of a body in case no one comes to claim it?
We've actually seen it happening with what we now call Nairobi Funeral Home, which was, what was it called before?
City Mortuary.
Yes.
Yes.
I prefer the name City Mortuary, actually. Nairobi Funeral Home makes you think it is like these funeral homes all over.
makes it it gives it the feel of Montezuma, perhaps Umash. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
And Leaf funeral.
Yeah. But I actually prefer mortuary because it tells you exactly what it does. Anyway,
yes, it is that in but carry on.
When it is a government-run facility, Nyamira Hospital is a government-run facility, they normally issue a notice. And they tell you, we have X number of bodies that have been unclaimed. Na tunawapatia nafasi hii na hii na hii, watu wakuja waone, if you've lost your loved ones, mkuje muangalie, blah, 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 blah. Remember, bodies are taken there. It doesn't matter, so long as it is, that body represents death, it is dead, itapelekwa huko. Wataiangalia, wataweka storage. The mortuary is storage. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, that notice follows, it's a legal notice, meaning you're being given an opportunity to come and claim. If that period lapses, they have a choice of even extending it if they wish. But then they inform me that they're going to dispose of those bodies. Okay? It's not a complicated procedure. Now, the question is, that procedure, was it followed by Nyamira? Was there a notice issued?
Yeah. That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, yes. If only we could ask someone from Nyamira Hospital.
Oh, if somebody hasn't come up to say it. And if that was the case, then why do you want to take bodies from Nyamira and why do you want to go and bury them in Kericho?
But yeah, now for me that is the real question. Mbona zilitoka Nyamira zikienda Kericho?
Isitoshe,
yeah,
there's a county in between. From Nyamira,
yeah,
you go to Bomet County.
Okay.
Then Kericho.
Because, and then this, let's not forget that they buried these bodies in a church and NCCK compound.
Yes, that's what they say. But then if I'm looking at this story, the burial site is not what we were told before.
Yeah, because it has other bodies that were there before this new bodies.
Yes. Essentially,
that is why now we have 33.
It's being called Makaburini, which means it was a designated
cemetery.
Yes, exactly.
Now,
the story of the church compound now doesn't feature.
But it was confirmed as of yesterday when we read the same story, or rather a similar story, because now it's a different story. Yesterday we read about 14 bodies, today we're reading about 33.
So are they two different stories?
No, it's the same story, but now it has more details than we.
So essentially, since from the time we read the story, more bodies were added.
Yes, because yesterday there were 14, today there are 19 more.
Okay.
Yeah, but now my question is this: NCCK, na hiyo cemetery yao. I'm sure I wouldn't just walk there and say that, hey, I have this person I need to bury here, and then they're like, oh, okay, mweke pale kwa kona. It's a kwangivyo. There has to be a procedure where they ask for maybe a burial permit.
Cemeteries have attendants. They all do. And there is an office that you go to if you want to use that burial site for burying somebody.
Yeah.
So it's not unattended. You cannot just drive a vehicle and then offload bodies into a mass, because it's a mass grave.
Yeah.
Mass grave means they dug up a hole.
Yeah, a bigger hole than they would for one person.
And then they dumped these bodies and then they covered it. Mass grave.
Yeah.
Yes.
So mi swali yangu nye ninauliza, NCCK waliulizwa that tunaweza kesi mwile pakasema mnaweza tupatie kwanza permit ya these burials. Yes. For these bodies rather, and then tell us who they are, or if they are unmarked or unknown or John Doe's or whatever it is. We just need to know that you're burying 19. What is their point of origin? Did they come from Nyamira? Did they come from Kericho? Did they come from Bomet? Did they come from Kisumu? Mumetoka wapi? Fulani. Nani amedeliver hizi bodies? Kimani sign hapa. Kimani akuje yake kidole yake, so that by the time we're coming back to this question, to this particular story, even when the press is reporting on it, they can say that, look, these bodies came from Nyamira. They were actually, the burial was sanctioned by this authority, and NCCK knew that this was happening. So the only thing that we do not know is who these people are that we have buried here. Now, their body parts, which means the hospital had disposed of these body parts, I'm assuming. Maybe someone had an amputation. Because if they amputate your hand, I don't think they give you that hand to go back home with. Do they? Not that you have been amputated.
They may give it to you to go and bury. It's your body after all. The people who bury bodies, who bury part of the body, yes, it's dead, so you bury it. It's yours. It's not theirs.
So I can actually...
It's yours. You can live with it. You can go and bury it. or you can decide you're going to leave it at the hospital. It's yours.
For example, in childbirth, do they give you the placenta? Because I have attended 2 births, and I mean 1 birth, and we didn't go with the placenta.
Were you asked what you want to do with the placenta?
I don't remember.
It is understood that it will be disposed of.
Yeah, there are some communities that actually cook that thing and eat it. But that's besides the point here. I didn't think that you could be given your own body part to go with.
It's yours.
Yeah. Nilidhani hiyo kitu ikikatwa wanapeleka.
It is yours.
Ni sawa City. I'm finishing my statement. Sikujua unaendanga nayo nyumbani.
No, and I did not say they amputate your leg and then give it you to take home.
You can request.
It's your... My point is, you decide.
Where on earth am I taking my leg, my foot?
You asked a question and I've answered. Now you're asking a completely different question. How would I know where you'd like to take your leg?
So, question. How do they dispose of these particular things? Do they incinerate them? Do they bury them in mass graves like now what we have had?
Let me answer by asking you a question. How do people get cremated?
In a crematorium.
Why do they get cremated?
For whatever reason, it could be...
Precisely.
Their religion, for example, we know that... Are they Hindus? Hindus, they cremate, yes.
Yes, or you decided you want to be cremated. More and more, if you want to be cremated.
Yes.
A decision is made. Same way. If you want to dispose of a body, and you are in a position to make the decision, that's the decision you make. Otherwise, if someone dies, for instance, the decision of what to do is made by if they had a wish, or people knew, or the family comes in and makes a decision.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, for Nyamira, because again, going back to Nyamira, hizo mikono walipata, and then we heard of fetuses. So that means that these were babies that were born dead, or they were born and then they died, or they probably died before they were born. What is the procedure of disposing of these particular bodies? Number 3, I know of families who will not go and pick up their dead person because they're like, we don't even have money to bury this person. We cannot organize for a ceremony. We don't even have, maybe alikuanga na deni hospitali huko, hatuna pesa ya kulipa hiyo deni ndio tupatiwe mwili. So wanaiacha hapo, wanasema wewe hospitali, do whatever you want to do with that body. As we are done, we have mourned our loss and we are moving forward. These bodies that were buried in this particular place, could they have been victims of those circumstances where a family says, hey, we can't afford this, so you guys deal with it?
There are very many reasons. These bodies that people do not claim or do not know, I mean, just pick any possible reason you could have and then add 3 more just for purpose of conversation. Somebody was hit by a car. You don't know who that person was. That person may be new to the country. That person may be new to the county. That person may be new to that town. That person may be known. Compare that with the notices we have of missing people. That person may be from a different part of the country.
Yeah.
That person may have said they're going somewhere for work. That nobody comes to claim you means, even though there are families who have people they have lost, they may have come and they may have looked and they have not found. And at some point, they have clearly said, look, what do we do? We've been looking and looking and looking and looking and looking. Some may fall into the category of what you've just suggested.
Yeah. Families just saying we can't bury this person.
Yes. And the reasons why they died, they are varied. There are people who even come to hospital, they die, nobody comes to claim. So if nobody comes to claim, that's why that notice is given. So you're being told, if you happen to be in the category of someone or some people who have lost loved ones, we have bodies that have been claimed. Come and have a look. Maybe it is one of your relatives. Maybe it's one of the people you've been claiming. That's why those notices are given. But as you say correctly, the people who, the thought of a dead body, they do not want, hapana, wataki.
Yeah.
Hapana.
We do not have the financial muscle to deal with it.
No, we don't want. Some just don't want. It's something that shakes them to the very core. This issue of dead bodies is not their thing. Yes.
You know, a couple of years ago, there was a lady who died in a road accident. She died, I can't remember the exact location, but she was coming from a different place. And it's like she had told, so let me just paint a scenario here. It's not necessarily the real one, but she sort of like told her parents, nimeenda hapa Westlands kwa rafiki yangu. Then the girl died, I think, in a different county, let's say Nakuru. So by the time the parents knew that their daughter is dead, wamemtafuta in Nairobi yote, wameenda mortuaries zote Nairobi. went to Nairobi mortuary, the Nairobi funeral home. They went to Chiromo. They basically went even to hospitals, and they searched and checked, and they couldn't find their daughter, only for them to be told, by the way, ngoja kidogo, ati mmesema nani, kuna picha They found that girl dead in a completely different county. It's because she had lied to her parents. She didn't want her parents to know that ameenda maybe kuona boyfriend or ameenda happy in a different county. And it was a really sad state of affairs. That's why if you're going anywhere, number one, please ensure you've carried your ID, number one. Number two, just let someone know. It can be one person. It doesn't have to be 10. It can be one person who's really trusted. It could be an auntie, an uncle, a cousin, someone, a neighbor. In case you don't come back home, your parents know where to start, or at least your next of kin knows where to start. Otherwise, lying that you've gone to Westlands only for you to end up dead in Wajir, that would be very weird. And then, of course, there are all these other questions people would start asking. Alifikaje Wajir? Alikuanga na nani? You start incriminating people who had nothing to do with your death. So that's something else that really happens with the particular things. Because if these people had IDs on them, then we would know that for sure this is Kimani from this place. This is Wambua from a different place.
Let me just read for you so that you understand the answer to that question. The disposal of unclaimed bodies in Kenya is governed by the Public Health Act Cap 242. Okay?
Yes.
And that's the Public Mortuaries Rule of 1991. Okay? Now, the Ministry of Health, through county governments, health departments, and public hospital management, follow a structured legal process to ensure that the dignity of the deceased before disposal, which is typically done by mass burial. Mass burial?
Yes.
Okay. 1. Retention period and identification. Bodies should be held in a mortuary for more. Let me start again.
Yeah.
Bodies should not be held in a mortuary for more than 10 days without action. Not more. Hospitals make efforts to trace next of kin through social workers and the police. 1. 2. Public notice. If the body remains unclaimed for a specific period, often 21 days, a public notice is issued in national newspapers or media platforms. This notice usually gives families a period 7 to 14 days to claim the remains. 3. Obtaining a court order. Upon expiry of the public notice, the hospital must seek approval from a court to legally dispose of the bodies. 4. Disposal method. The bodies are then disposed through a respectful, officially sanctioned mass burial at a designated public cemetery, e.g. Nakuru South Cemetery, Naivasha Public Cemetery, Langata, etc., etc., etc. Public. 4. Documentation. Recent guidelines require each body to be placed in an individual bag with DNA records, the fingerprints filed before burial for future identification. Do you read anywhere in that article where these procedures were followed or mentioned?
If the DCI is involved, then no.
Abana. Abana. It's a legal process. Yeah. DCI wamekuja because they've disposed. All these things that I'm saying happen before you dispose of the bodies. DCI involvement doesn't interfere with this process.
Yeah.
No. They are coming in because there are uncertainties. Had these processes been followed, you would not need DCI.
We wouldn't be having this as a news item.
Yes, exactly. Because the documentation would have been there. The DCI would understand the legal process have been followed. So this discussion would not be taking place. It is taking place because these particular processes were not followed. Or if somebody claims they were, there's lack of clarity. That's the problem. The absence of clarity.
Yeah.
Yes.
What if these guys died under mysterious circumstances and someone is doing a cover-up? Or at least was attempting to do a cover-up?
You know, sometimes the problem with taking shortcuts, you then open the door for very many allegations. Somebody may just have been lazy.
Yeah, to do the whole legal...
Yeah, they just don't want to do what is supposed to be done. Figure bwana.
Nani atenda kotini?
Kuna mali tunaweza kuzika watu. Okay. Now, if we bury these bodies in Nyamira, there's a shida. Can we talk to somebody in Kericho? Nani ameongea? So, there's an entirely different discussion that may take place that has nothing to do with anything nefarious having taken place. But because you haven't followed procedure, we now have to impute nefarious intentions.
And if this person has done this once, or these people have done this once, chances are they have done it before.
What is to say they have not done this before? And which raises the question, the children, the fetuses,
the body parts.
You know, fetuses, you kando. Body parts, kando. The adults, kando.
The children.
Because the logic why these things, all these parts of a human being exist, the reasons are different. These adults, who are they? Did we take fingerprints so that for future purposes we are able to identify these bodies? Just simple. Did Nyamira Hospital do that? If it is fetuses, is there a record of the parents of these
that probably delivered these children?
Yes. Is there a record of how these fetuses came to be and why it is that they are now being disposed of because they are not alive? Is there a reason? These body parts, who do they belong to? And if you don't know, and if they were found, where were they found? And then this is not a can of worms, this is a factory of worms. Rather, a factory that makes cans full of worms. This is what has been opened up but then the beauty is, it makes us understand some of the regulations that ordinarily we would never have bothered looking into. Yes.
Hey! Let me ask that question again. What if this is someone who's just doing his or her thing, and they're using this hospital as a cover-up?
It's very possible. As I said, anything that you suggest, anything is a possibility.
So we have these very many bodies that we need to dispose of, and we just can't go and bury them in Ngong Forest, for example, or Kakamega Forest. So let's find a way to legalize this burial somehow. Use a hospital as cover-up, and just drive them to a cemetery far away from our county, because Nyamira, I am sure, has got a cemetery.
They have.
Perhaps even several.
How do you have a government hospital and not have a cemetery?
And yet people die in hospitals.
Paul, you know, you cannot just take a body and go and bury it in an open field without people asking you, why are you burying it? It's not. And this one, we even know the owner. So let's take the possibility that there was conversation and permission was granted. Who granted the permission? Who? Why?
Because for you to go to a court to seek permission to bury these bodies, there's a reason for that. Because you have got to say that we've got 25 or 33 bodies now, 33. Okay, let's go with the 14 that were buried last. We have got 14 bodies here with us, would like to bury them. These are the 14 bodies. One died because of an accident. One was a stab wound. And it has been, it is the police that actually established this particular crime. So hii kesi iko under investigation by DCI. Mwingine alikufa topa kwa hospitali, alikuwa amegonjeka COVID. Mwingine, there has to go to be 14 deaths and 14 reasons as to what killed these particular individuals. So the government knows there are 14 people that died at a particular time, and these are the reasons that killed them. So even when we are burying them in this particular mass grave, yes, because at the end of the day, we're not going to leave bodies lying around. So we are burying them in a grave, but it is a case that is more or less closed. It is a known case. So if anyone asks, who are those people in those particular graves, we have documents to show these are the people and this is what killed them. Clearly, from what we understand from this one, that documentation isn't available. And that is why I'm asking, what if there were some nefarious reasons as to why these people actually lost their lives, number one, and why are they finding themselves in this particular grave miles away from the counties that they allegedly died in?
First of all, if you die and the body is in a public facility, the law requires that you are buried in a public facility. This is not a public facility.
Yes.
It's not owned by the government, from what we've read. So already, adding to the why that you've asked, remember, there is another use that dead bodies are put to. This falls under CAP, the anatomy CAP 249. This is where you actually allow medical training institution with explicit approval from the Ministry of Health to take unclaimed bodies for medical education and research purposes. When you study medicine,
yes,
I think it's when you go to second year.
Right.
Okay? You are given cadavers, the dead bodies. This is where now you understand anatomy.
Yeah. So the first year you do anatomy, so then second year now you are shown the anatomy.
Uko nayo hapo. So ushasoma theory.
Unaambiwa sasa ile macho mlifunzwa
body ndio hii na unapewa yako. So mkiangalia sehemu ya whatever it is, they're normally complete. This is where you operate. This is where you learn to operate. This is where you learn to understand the human body, how it actually works. And this is where many people say, excuse me,
I quit.
I want to go and study commerce.
Yes. Wacha nikafanya education.
Yes, wacha tu niende nifanye environmental studies.
Niite mwalimu city.
Yes, basha pata. Wacha na kitu. Kuna vitu mingi naweza soma.
You know, I once dated a medical student, and once in a while she would come smelling of formalin. Bro, your relationship ilisha hivyo bwana.
Wewe ni mwoga, eh?
Si uoga. I couldn't handle the smell of formalin every day in, day out.
Bro. Wewe ni mwoga, so I have just said.
It has got nothing to do with uoga. Nimesema siti ni kama ni kama ufanye kazi kwa fish. Kila siku unakuja ukinuka fish.
Upendi smell of fish?
Napenda samaki lakini hiyo harufu bana day in, day out. Ay bana, hiyo kitu ni is difficult. So this person that I was in campus by then, and Kenyatta University had just started this medical degree. Yeah. Sasa bwana, kila siku watu walikuwa wanaenda pale kwa mochari, wanakuja kila siku bwana formalin. It was not a bad smell, but formalin daily. I was like, I can't deal with this. Anyway, you were saying something. So medical school, they're given cadavers.
Yes, they want to pay approval of the ministry. Okay, but usually it has been established body unclaimed.
Yeah.
Na tumejaribu, and there's documentation, and you're here. Okay? But you see, when you talk about unclaimed bodies, you have to look at reasons why. And you hit the nail on the head when you talk about financial hardships.
Yeah.
Okay? And sometimes, these are people who are victims of accidents, victims of crime. And at some point, people hit a dead end and nobody's bothering about them anymore. Okay. If you are estranged from your family and you moved away, you never write, you never say anything. You know, if you die, it may be difficult for someone to come and claim you.
Yes.
Because you never communicate anyway. So the issue of them not being in touch doesn't arise. So they can't miss you. They can't figure out where. I have seen, you see, notices where pictures are actually taken of individuals. There are those who consider it bizarre. Sasa unapiga picha watu ambao wamekufa unaweka kwa gazeti ya nini? Closure often involves people understanding what killed their loved ones, and it is actualized by them actually participating in a process where they are buried, interred, as we say. But this particular story is bizarre.
Yes.
As it stands, there are very many questions that have been unanswered, and there are very many questions that will still arise from this. And as these things tend to go, they will open up an entire Pandora's box. Look at another story that caught my attention.
Right.
Questions about levels of teaching in junior school. This was a story that came up on page 8 of the Nation. Okay? I have found that sometimes it is best to simply read it and then look at what they're saying. Teacher shortage remains severe. Senior school teachers say learners were poorly prepared.
Okay.
After teaching grade 10 learners for one term, teachers in senior school are now warning that the 3 chaotic years of junior school marked by a lack of labs, laboratories, teachers and basic learning resources laid a poor foundation. We talked about it here. Teachers and principals who spoke to the Nation say there are serious gaps in learning, particularly in science and practical subjects, with many learners struggling with content at senior school levels due to limited exposure in junior school. This we spoke of years ago when they first started this, and we said, this thing, we're going to have a problem. They are not learning. Not that they're learning in bits, they are not learning. There are no teachers. Subject teachers are not there. There's all this confusion. Should they go here? Somebody, they are too young to go to the secondary school. That argument I don't understand completely. No, honestly, completely. What age do they think people should go to secondary school? By the time somebody was in grade 7 or grade 8, how old do they think those children were? You're saying a 12-year-old cannot go to secondary school. They can.
You know, when I first joined Form 1, that was in 2001, aki nilipata watu wakubwa hiyo shule.
Yes, ulienda.
Kwenda nao nilienda. But mind you, I was plus size. I was like a small nilikuwa kama mtu kanono. But niliingia hiyo shule nikaona watu wakubwa kuniliko. First of all, very tall people. Watu wako na mandevu. Mimi sikuwa na ndevu. Watu wako na mandevu.
At age of 12 utapata ndevu wapi?
Sitapata. Watu wako na mandevu. Watu wengine wako na misuli, you know. So I was wondering, who on earth are these people? So yeah, I kind of feel the parents who are complaining about their children, but I do not agree with that particular thought. But
your child is not the only child going into that environment. There are very many of them.
Wazazi wanapenda watoto wao sana.
Bro.
And unfortunately, even as your child is growing, unamwonanga akiwa that little boy or that little girl.
Then it's the parents who need to grow up.
Because we heard of that complaint of parents saying that, look, why are we taking our children to, they are very small children to be with adults in school? And I was like, no. Mimi najua watu waliendanga boarding school wakiwa in their standard 1s and 2s and 3s.
Yes.
Boarding school.
And boarding school had standard 7 and standard 8 children. Is that not so? Yes.
Yeah.
No, that argument in my mind is full of holes.
Yeah.
It was full of holes. If that was a policy, they should have carried it out. Are you trying to tell me that all these education experts did not know the age at which children would actually move to the next level? They did. They did. People have gone to Form 1, they did a Form 1 at the age of 11. You'll be small and you'll be young. So you'll grow up. You're not the only child in that school, man. Yes.
Mzazi anaangalia kama mtu kake kadogo hivi. Anaona alafu anakuja shule anaangalia mtu anatoshana kama CT anasema no.
Sienda afungue shule yake apeleke mtoto huko.
You go into that school and you find someone who looks like your age mates and you're the parent. And this person you're told is in Form 2. And you're looking at this person and they look like they are your age mate, perhaps even older than you. You're like, no, my child is not going to this school.
These learners were not adequately prepared. They were completely green. Never, I'm reading a quotation, never stepped into a lab, only taught theory with no practical work. Again, this was pointed out. You haven't built labs. How are they going to understand these things?
But there's a first time for everything anyway.
No, this is nonsense, Chief. This is not a first time for everything.
Even me, I
did not have any gap in your education. That's why you're able to move through. There are things, the point of education, there's a cascading process of learning which builds up. You're taught a principle, you build it up as you move along. If you're not taught that particular principle, or you don't understand the content, and you move to the next level where that discussion is elevated, you will have a gap that will be difficult to bridge. It's not complicated. If you are not taught certain things, how on earth are you going to understand the more complicated contents of that same particular principle? You can't. You'll struggle. No. There's no ifs and buts here. That is a gap. And that gap may live with these children up until the time they finish that particular level of education. And that gap may persist throughout their lives because they never had the experience that was necessary. The question is, what is the government doing to bridge this gap? Because it is not impossible to bridge the gap. So what do you do? How do you get them to catch up? Remember, you've heard of the concept of remedial classes. Okay. In this modern day and age, if you do not qualify to take to pursue a certain course, they allow you to sit for another exam that should indicate that your aptitude has increased. That is supposed to enable you to move to the next level, isn't it? Something similar. Do they have it in their books? Are they planning to ensure that this gap, which is a clear gap and will be a problem with learning, not now even if they extend their learning to university, is it possible for there to be a plan for this gap to be bridged? Because it must be bridged.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not just some students. That entire generation of students, will have this problem.
And we shall.
If Paul, every year we talk about around 1 million students who graduate from our primary school, what we call primary school before.
Yes.
Out in wengi. Out in wengi sana.
And a similar number.
Yes.
From 4.
So yes, exactly. So if you create this gap for that number of people, so you want to say that it is okay to disadvantage that number of Kenyans? Is it really? And it's through no fault of their own. Ministry did their thing, didn't plan adequately. Whatever it is that was supposed to be done adequately, they did not do. Yet they knew there was a problem with the system. They were told. There's an entire minister. Amina Mohammed was an said, we're not ready for this.
Yeah.
But some people tried to push it through. The campaigning of this particular government was that this thing, wataweka kando. For some reason, they chose to retain it. And now, these problems which were anticipated and spoken of have arrived at our doorstep.
Here they are.
Yes. What have we consigned these children to? Because this is going to affect their lives if it is not corrected now. Yes.
I have never understood why we do this and then later on we come and then start asking ourselves, huh? What happened? Like hiyo ni kitu moja mi huanga inanishangaza sana.
Let me read this thing for you so that you understand it further.
Okay.
It's actually quite damning. There are no labs and the host primary schools yet now in grade 10. Let me read it. They were only taught theory and not practical work. There are no labs in the host primary schools, yet now in grade 10, parents expect us to perform miracles as they grapple with advanced science. They scored highly in primary, but many cannot even read.
Yeah?
I'm reading.
How did they score highly?
How did they get these marks? No, these are questions being asked, said a principal in Nairobi. According to the basic education curriculum framework, learners in junior school should be exposed to a broad curriculum to enable them to explore their interests and potential before choosing subjects according to career paths of interest in senior school. How do you get to grade 10 and start giving advanced education to learners who have never done practical work? The principal asked. So people who may have been good in sciences, who never stepped into a lab, so are not introduced to it properly, what you've done is you more or less cancelled the ability to ever participate in something that may be good until or unless you have a plan to fill this gap. And if that plan exists, what is it? When you politicize something as serious as education, the repercussions are dire. They're very, very dire.
Yep.
You have an entire cluster of learners who are entering a different phase of the educational life handicapped. And this could have been avoided.
So what is the implication, in your opinion, in terms of by the time these children graduate, either to join university or if they are lucky enough to join university?
You see,
what challenges do you think they will face in university?
I'll go beyond even university and by asking the question. If you had never been taught that 1 + 1 is 2, and you understood it going for the 2, and then you taught the times table, and you memorize it. Now, time we used to memorize it.
In my time too.
Yes.
Nili memorize mpaka 12 times 12.
It really helps 144. You see what memorization does? You don't even think. You immediately...
You just know the answer.
You know the answer.
I remember we used to chant 13 times 13, 169. Tukaenda all the way mpaka 26 times 26, which nakumbukanga hadi wa leo ni 676.
You see what you've done to your brain? You've actually begun using parts of its full capacity. We never use its full capacity. But that's what the brain can do. Now, that enabled you to now move to other advanced forms of maths. For instance, the career that you chose. Or if you chose a career that I did, like education.
Yes.
I thought I'd escaped maths until I came across statistics. Oh yeah, you had to do statistics. And I wonder, why are we having to do statistics?
Yeah.
How do you teach and how do you determine and understand the performance of students? How do you grade it? How do you understand what it is that they are doing? And how do you give it an understanding that can actually, bless you, but it's actually empirical?
Yeah.
You need statistics.
Yes.
Okay?
True.
very often when you hear someone speak, Kenyans will comment and say, this person didn't go to school. What is it that marks you as somebody who went to school? One, the way you reason, the way you think. So when you speak, people realize, oh, this person clearly has knowledge. How do we know? It's because of how you will put across the information that you have. Okay? There's a certain process of formal learning that gives you this. And it opens your mind to understand what else you can do. Yeah. That's why you are given this broad base of subjects to choose from or to learn at an earlier stage. We all do this. You have many subjects, and as you move on, they become fewer and fewer and fewer. Why? You've decided what it is you want to study. So you now go into specialization of detailing. Up to the point where you get a degree, then you go into now further specialization. From there you can go to now sub-specialization. If you had never been introduced to the fundamental building blocks of this particular concept, everything that I've said in that sentence would not have been possible. It would not have been, you simply would not have understood it, and you would not even know what to do with it. Okay?
Yes.
There is a reality that people must face, and that reality is you make a decision such as the one which was made, where you have a school and you're insisting. There are no teachers. You are insisting. You are insisting it must be in primary school, and yet, because that system, there was a class in Form 1 where there was a gap because people had moved ahead and there was this particular space, isn't it?
Yes.
Secondary schools had labs. No. You can't have this thing here. No. Because why? All sorts of reasons. But that secondary school has people who actually teach sciences, and they know sciences. They even have labs just for purpose of sciences. And this advanced thing that you're talking about, there are people who are trained. No, it must be in primary school. You had not trained the teachers who you wanted to fill this task in the primary school. The problems around CBC in themselves are not difficult to even understand. And yet, we let it happen.
Yep.
So now we are. Catastrophes don't happen with the eventuality that goes boom. No. Boom is the final consequence. It is these little things. Once upon a time, Paul, teaching was something that people chose happily, and they were happy to be teachers, and the profession was respected. I'm answering your question.
Yeah.
As we increased in numbers, there was need to actually have more teachers. I don't know who came up with this clever idea. Instead of looking at education holistically and asking what sort of teachers do we need and what do we need to get this quality of teacher, they decided, whoever they were, that we needed teachers. When somebody doesn't get the subject that they wanted to study in university, you give them education. And that happened for a long time.
Yes.
So you are shipping people. There were some who wanted education, they got it, they chose it. I being one such person. Others were given a task and a career path that they didn't want. Teaching is not something you get into if you don't want it. Because that is interest and that disgruntlement will be expressed in the way you teach and the way you handle your students.
And on the people that you are teaching.
Oh yes, they will see it. They will know who you happen to be subject. This one is waiting for the salary. Students will know that teachers who like their subject will like their students, and the students will respond. We all know, we remember teachers who are utterly useless, didn't teach, just insulted people. We remember them, and we know why we remember them.
So actually, let me ask you this. Did you ever go through training of how to cane your students?
No.
Where?
It was not in the curriculum. I don't remember it being in the curriculum. But what I do remember was that you were allowed to cane, and there were very specific guidelines as to where to cane and how to cane. What infraction, 2 strokes of the cane, and so forth. 6 was the maximum.
Oh yeah, that's why every teacher is like, I'll give you 6 of the very best.
Yes, when I became a headmaster, I was in a school which had 3 canes. There was one, and they were bamboo. Like this, the one which was bigger, this one which was much bigger and thicker. It was a mistake. The ones which inflicted the most pain was actually a thinner one.
Yeah. Because it will exert more pressure.
Believe me, the cane, unfortunately, like many other things that were forms of punishment, were abused. So they ended up not serving the purpose for which they were intended.
You're very right.
Okay.
I had a teacher, I'll not mention him because chances are he's listening. That guy used to walk around with a nyaunyo.
No, that was a criminal.
Nyahunyo.
Let me repeat again, that was a criminal.
Na alikuwa naifunga hivi kama belt.
Let me repeat again, that was a criminal.
Yeah.
What on earth do you think you're doing? That's a person who's been taken to a mental facility so that his faculties are checked.
And the first time we actually noticed that Nyahunyo is alikuja mikono mitupu, akauliza noisemakers wako wapi? Prefect akampatia raka iwezekanavyo, shwa ndio yeye watu wanapiga kelele. Watu wakaitwa.
Were you on that list, Paul?
Bro.
Of course you were. Let's continue the story.
No, I wasn't.
You see, I told you about miracles. They do happen. And you go on.
So the guys were called to the front and then they were told to lie down on the floor. Nikadhani it will just be the usual, you're kicked around and then you're told, go back and sit. Oh yeah, that used to happen a lot. Kick, punching and all that.
No.
So when the folks lay on the floor, jamaa akafungua jacket. Ilikuanga document career kama hii yako. Akaifungua hivi yote mpaka chini. That's when now we saw the Nyahunyo. The guy unleashed that thing on those boys.
There's something wrong with that person.
Anyway, yeah. So that's from that day henceforth to when that teacher, that specific one is on duty.
But he traumatized the whole class.
Yes. When that specific teacher is on duty,
nobody even.
Shule mzima ulikuwa unasikia pin drop silence. People would go to class on time for preps. People would, yani.
And I'm sure no, but that guy was a criminal. Let me tell you. There are ways of gaining that sort of order without necessarily brutalizing children. They're children. And children will be playful. For heaven's sake, they are children.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because even come punishment time, some the teachers would just join in a punishment and you're wondering, why is this guy punishing us? And yet, tumekosea mwalimu CT. Sasa huyu mtu anaitwa Farah ametokezea wapi? Yeah, Farah is a guy we work with here in the office. So the moment you would see Farah coming, yani mpaka mlikuwa mnamalizia na teacher CT haraka kabla Farah afike, because Farah akifika is a problem. You get what I mean?
I do understand that, but I'll tell you this, Paul. When we then decided to put everybody who couldn't get whatever they wanted into teaching, the effect of that decision, this is my theory, became full-blown 10 years down the line. And I'm going to explain why. You taught students in Form 4. By the time, or even in Form 1, they go up to Form 4.
Yes.
Sindio? They graduate, they go to university and Form 4. So that's 8 years, sindio?
Yes.
Some of these fellows end up coming as teachers, isn't it?
Yes.
You are taught by a disgruntled teacher. You are now being forced to teach yourself. You multiply that disgruntlement. That's when we started experiencing schools being torched, libraries being torched. That's when. Because if students are taught and they understand the value of what is happening, and they have people who clearly have an interest in their lives, when they have a complaint, they'll pay attention to it and they will address it.
Yes.
Every of those situations came about as a result of, yes, there were some people who were given towards criminality, but the situation allowed for that criminality to take place. Because if you pay attention to the student body, you'll create a system where you will know who the troublemakers are. Troublemakers, just people who make noise. There are always criminal elements within that particular group. You will know. This one is not just your garden variety young thug.
Yeah.
No, this one is a criminal. This one, given a chance, can actually cause harm.
Na kuna walimu wengine CT, actually help me understand this. You would ask a question. For example, teacher, tell us what is shakahola?
Ni kama umechokoza nyuki.
Yes. Sasa mwalimu mwenyewe maybe ana realize pia hajui shakahola ni nini. Sasa anauliza students, who can tell Mbuvi what shakahola is? Then you realize even these students do not know what shakahola is.
He'll land on you.
Bro, tulikuwa tunatandikwa sisi wote mpaka mnaangalia mwenye aliuliza hiyo swali surely. Jemo. Hiyo shakahola si ungeuliza after mwalimu ameenda ama ungengoja umfuate mpaka staff room ukamuuliza. I just want to understand what was the mentality behind that.
There is a thinking that very many male Africans had growing up, that you solve problems with either threats of beating or beating. One. They probably as students had teachers who responded to questions. You ask them a question, umechapwa. You asked a genuine question.
What is shakahola? Oh, so you don't know what shakahola is.
What are you doing in school? Chap!
And you're like, I'm here to learn.
Now, what it breeds is people who may have questions, but they never ask you. Even in real life, if you look at Kenyans, meaning, it's like our school system at a certain point in time traumatized us collectively. So tupingi serikali sana. Inaweza leta shida.
Usipinge, usiulize swali.
Now you come to Gen Zs.
Yes.
They have parents who went through that and they figured, my children are not being brought up this way.
Yeah.
So they ask more questions, they query things, and they can be in your face. So, and there are many of them who think that way. And they'll challenge you in your house where they're sleeping on your bed and eating your food.
Yeah.
And they challenge you.
They'll be like, Mom, you're not going to sleep until you tell me why we are eating githeri tonight.
Yes. Oh, Daddy, kwani ugali daily? Surely.
Yeah.
Huh?
So Dad, like, why? When you don't have money, Dad?
Yes.
They are activists even in the house.
Sasa, I think a clear thinking African man. Hii ni mama yao. Yeye ndiye
unafikiria kama mama yako number one.
Yes, number one. Or if there's a relative you don't like on your wife's side, huyo amechukua traits za huyo. There are things that we Africans have as our own peculiarities.
Yes.
And one of the things you'll find is an attitude where you are more or less inculcated into believing authority cannot be questioned. When you question authority, there's something wrong with you. Now imagine somebody who's a teacher and has been brought up in a society or community where people have those ideas. Instead of when a question is asked, you're happy and you want to discuss it.
Yes.
Teachers who allow students to ask questions and discuss it, those teachers are popular and loved.
And they are the best.
And those teachers, children pass exams and they're never forgotten. And the children do not have issues in their classes.
True.
This kangumu hardship,
hao ndio wanachomewa magari during strikes.
Yes.
Hao ndio wanagongewa nyumba during wakati wa strikes.
Exactly.
We've come to the end of the show, but before we leave, let me just give a few shout-outs to Njuki Mungai. Amesema Mbuvi, mimi I had to break up with my mortician ex-girlfriend because she always had nyama whenever I visited her. It also did not help that she used to mumble some incoherent words at night. Willis Juma, Mbuvi, my senior principal was a cartel and used to have nyaunyo. I tell you, it was hell. Very true. Ati walimu wa English Lit had that character. Shule yenyu ya English Lit ndilikuwa na shida. Sisi walimu wa STEM. Unaona mwalimu anafunza mathematics. Mwalimu mwenye anafunza physics. Mwalimu mwenye anafunza chemistry.
Walikuwa nyama kidogo.
Those guys were US Marines.